welcome to Facehammer episode 103. It is me, Russ the Face, and I'm joined by Byron and his silly hat picture behind him. Ord.
Do you like my tassels? They're pretty good, aren't they? I have to sit leaning back unnecessarily. What are you going to do to join in with a hat?
Let's get ready for the Lumineth show.
That's not silly enough. That's silly enough.
So we're going to talk about Lumineth.
You're ready for battle, right, Russ?
Yeah, I need some tassels. I feel a bit left out. Maybe I can put this behind my ear or something. That'll work.
Yeah.
Sweet. So
now
we're going to talk about, because obviously on pre-order today is the Lumineth Realm-Lords Battletome, and also Broken Realms Teclis, which is essentially the Lumineth Realm-Lords Battletome with a different cover and more stuff in it.
It's been a bit of a filtering release, but there's now, as odd as it is, now they make sense, is how I would put it. It's not perhaps how I would have liked things to have come out in terms of it being easy to follow or making sense, but now things do make sense. So,
I'm just going to adjust the hat. So, no, I'm kidding. I'm going to take this off because it's going to falling over and hitting the microphone.
I mean,
but
I don't know about you, but you just don't look ready for battle anymore.
No, I'm not.
Look much more appropriate.
So, exactly. You need a big jumpsuit on with knee pads and stuff.
And to make people -5 to hit, apparently.
Yeah, -10 to hit. Why not? Because -1's not enough.
Later. No.
So for those who are new to this channel or our podcast, we talk about matched play Age of Sigmar. So when we do the book reviews, we'll talk about the options and things for matched play, tactics and synergy. We're not going to write lists in this show. We're not going to do any list tech, but we've got a live show on our YouTube channel on Sunday at 7:30 UK time. You can find the link to that on our channel. I'll put it in the description below. And if you go and join us there, you can ask questions and we'll be live and we'll be doing some list tech and generally getting a little bit
also
silly.
Correct us if you like,
which I'm sure we'll get some things wrong. Now
we're going to call the show -7 to hit or get out, I think.
Yeah, when -1's not enough.
-3 minimum, I think.
So when we're going to get into it, it's going to be quite a lot of stuff to cover. Now, obviously, because Teclis and Realm-Lords have hit the same day, which is a bit bizarre. Obviously, it'd be a bit like if Marathi and Daughters of Cain Battletomes come out on the same day. So obviously, this has probably been impacted by COVID. I'm just speculating. I don't actually have any inside information. I'm just saying that obviously it's probably not intended for this to happen.
No.
Now, for those who don't know, who already have the previous Lumineth Battletome, the new Lumineth Battletome has lots of new units and some artwork and some background, but all of that new content is also in Broken Realms Teclis. So if you already have the other Lumineth book, so out of the two that are coming out, so these two, you don't need this. You just get this.
It's got a nicer cover as well. Maybe
it's a much nicer looking book. Yeah. Because that is much nicer from my point of view. It's already on the screen. I don't know why I'm holding it up. But if you want to make sure, if we were a massive Lumineth fan, I would pick up the other one because when I write lists, I don't like having multiple books and it puts it all in one place. So it'd be a bit annoying. What artifacts can I have? Oh, I need to look in 2 books. What command trait? Look in 2 books. What are my formations are 2 books. So I get that if you're into Lumineth, you can get the one book all in one. But
obviously, more fluff, and if you want to read backstories and more in-depth stuff.
Yeah, but all that is in, it's in the Teclis book. So in Teclis, they've put in all the background, I believe, is the same. In the other, I haven't read it, so I might be wrong. Correct me by all means. But in the Teclis one, it's actually got all the we'll just skip to it. It's actually got the background for for all the stuff. So it's got the heroes, so this is the stuff I'd imagine would be in the Battletome at the front.
Makes sense.
So, and it's even got the pictures of the models.
All right. Okay. I stand corrected then.
So
Obviously, I don't have one of these in my hands.
no. So unfortunately, it's I've got my sample, but yeah, it's hopefully next time we'll get a little bit more warning. What is really nice though, this color scheme on Lumineth is legit. It's so much better than the standard one. So looking at the models at different angles
That's
with the
your
nice
old
colours, that's my
Elfie scheme, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the I think it's the ones that Les was doing, which I think it's Zytrek, so it's not the one he was doing. But that scheme, like even the guy, it'd be difficult to see this, but there's a guy at the back there on the cloud.
Yep.
And you notice he's got pink blossom and like a red cloak,
cool.
and he's done a turquoisey cloud. Actually think the models look 100% better in this scheme.
That's it's a wonderful photo as well.
I would,
that looks very
and
cool.
what's really cool about the photo is it's got them all at angles that even the banner, look at, he's got a different head with no helmet on.
Yep.
So like for me, like I looked at that picture and went, actually the models aren't too bad. So if people listen to our show when we did our pre-order and our live show and we talked about the pre-orders and looked through all the silly hats, as per our meme at the beginning, they're not as bad as that. I think the color scheme makes a huge difference. I think someone on the stream actually said that, or it was in the Discord. I can't remember. It might have been Martin Orlando directly to me because he's been DMing me quite a bit. But yeah, I don't know. But basically, yeah, it's yeah. So basically, Teclis, buy that if you're not that into Lumineth. If you're really into Lumineth and you want to go tournaments and want it all in one place, then get the other book. If you haven't got the original Lumineth book and you want to play Lumineth, you have to buy the new one. But that's like any other army. So a bit of a cock up in my opinion, but it's you know,
things can make more sense going forward. At least
you can make there are optional purchases. You can decide with your wallet whether you want to buy it or not. You know, it's like
as ever. Yeah.
It's but if you've already got the original book, just get Teclis because it is really nice. I haven't read the lore yet, but I'd flick through it and there's quite a lot of death stuff in there, so I'll give that a read.
Cool. Well, it's not just the Lumineth that are in the book, is there? There's a little bit of other stuff, and even though it's not that much in terms of quantity, I think in terms of what it's going to do for particularly Nurgle, let's face it, there is some hefty updates that are just going to are going to affect massively how they behave on the table, in my opinion. Like I think 2 effectively redundant Warscrolls, or 3 arguably, have just become almost must-takes, or at least very strong options.
Yeah, the only thing I'm a bit concerned about with the Nurgle is that demons were already the prominent choice, but you only really saw the 2 Warscrolls, which was, Great and Clean One and Plague Bearers. Now you will see other Warscrolls in the demon range, but actually the mortal side of it is pretty lackluster.
Yeah, unless you take a plague touched warband or some stuff like that, which is
but you've
kind of a bit weird.
You've got the Wrath of the Ever-Chosen demon allegiances, which are really, really strong. So I don't think you're if you're playing Nurgle, unless you're really into like Maggot Lords and Blight Kings, which I really love those models, they're not really going to be a main feature of your army.
No, it's the faster paint ones are getting all the love, aren't they?
And yeah, and I think as well, like with Blight Lords, you've got rend and you've got extra damage from them, but now you can get all that on Plague Bearers. So
and
let's just have more of them.
Battle line, yeah. I could. It's long. Like they've always been a strong Warscroll inherently. They just got better. Like you could. It's a bit dull, but you could rock up with 90 Plague Bearers, and I don't think that would be a mistake. In terms of the power level of that army, you could have 90 Plague Bearers, 2 or 3 infantry-sized heroes, and a Great Unclean One, and still have a little bit of spare points for Beasts of Nurgle. Or we were chatting about the Plague Drones. Like Plague Drones have got a lot to buff because they got so many different profiles. So if you're getting +1 to attack on something, Plague Bearers only have 1 type of attack. Plague Drones have got 3.
I think so. They might only have 2 now. They used to have a proboscis wing, like leggies, and a stinger. I think they put the stinger and the is 1, and they put all the other stuff into 1 profile. So I think it's only 2.
Okay.
But then there's a rider as well. So I think it might be 3 profiles.
Yeah, 2 or 3 extra attacks.
Because it
fine.
used to be the thing with using the spell to get extra attacks as well, or exploding attacks. Can't quite remember, but it's been a long time since I dusted my Nurgle off. So there's some nice updates, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we're going to go through the match play Battletome updates in Teclis. That's what we're going to talk about in the show, and we'll talk about the details. So City of Sigmar get a little update, and we have the Settlers Gain, which is your free city battle trait, which is the City of Learning. So basically, when you choose a City of Sigmar army, it can be a Settlers Game army, and it gives you the following. So you basically have Lumineth tutors, so you can choose one extra Settlers Gain free guild hero or Settlers Gain arcane hero, however you say that, collegiate. There you go. To have an artifact of power. In addition, you can add one to casting rolls for Settlers Gain collegiate arcane wizards.
They needed some more buffs, didn't they, to the casting? They were lacking.
That's if you take the other one, isn't it? Which is the one that Tom took. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, the magic one.
The magic one, yeah. And then you've got Warriors of High District. It allows you to have 1 in 4 units could be a Lumineth Realm-Lords unit. In addition...
That's cool.
Yes, 1 in every 4 to be a Stormcast unit is in addition to that. So like you can... It's a bit like the Daughters of Cain one. Like it's and I think there's a Kradron one. Like, I think it's Tempest Eye can have KO, and so this one allows you to have Lumineth units.
So to just add something to that, they gain the Cities of Sigmar and Settlers Gain keywords. That potential up to 1 in 4 from your army. So if you've got a 12-drop army, you can have 3 units. You get those keywords, and that means there are some tasty spells or abilities that you could be rocketing them across the board by using Wild Form on them from one of the Wizard on Foot. I forgot the name of it, but the Battle Mage or other stuff like that. It really does open up quite a lot, and as we're going to come to later, there is quite a lot of cool abilities in the Lumineth book. And a lot of them involve debuffing your opponent. So the nice thing about that is, you're not saying there's a bubble around this character and all things Lumineth Realm-Lords are -1 to be hit at or something. You're picking an enemy unit and being like, that's -1 to hit. And therefore your army, whether it is Stormcast or like Wanderers or, whatever it is, that's going to benefit from those abilities as well. So I'd say they're quite good inclusions, and some of them are pretty cool. I think the Lumineth have gained a lot of character with this release, in my opinion. Like, I wasn't particularly excited for them apart from the big mountain dude previously, but they feel kind of hit and run, formerly Wood Elf style, I would say, in a lot of ways, which ties in with everything's about the wind. The wind is blowing a lot in this book. But I think they got a bit more
got
interesting.
some rules around wind as well, but it allows you to do humans with silly hats, so we can don the hat again. No, basically, they also get the command ability Elven Training. So start the battle shock. You could pick 1 Settlers Gain Lumineth Realm-Lords hero. Do not take battle shock tests for free guild or collegiate arcane units wholly within 18. So it's okay.
Bit specific. But for if you had gone crazy on crossbowmen or whatever, that can make a difference. The collegiate arcane units is, I would say, broadly speaking, irrelevant because they don't have infantry. So why would you?
No, flagellants aren't, are they?
No, why would you? You're not going to take battle shock on a on a single unit. It's either dead or it's alive. A single model, rather. In the case of mages or Luminarchs or anything like that, but for the free guild, it's not a bad ability if you're bunching.
Yeah, and then you've got the command traits, which is personal levitation, general can fly, strategic mastermind, that you can get a command point, and then you've got raging outburst, add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made by melee weapons by the general, but subtract 1 from save rolls for attacks that target him. So don't really know you would use that. Maybe you would if you've taken maybe like a Lumineth combat hero or something, or like a Guard Griffin maybe, but I think -1 saves pretty bad.
Yeah, if you're pushing the -1 to hit abilities from Lumineth, potentially that could not be as much of a problem, but I agree, generally speaking. Fly and the command point on a 4+ start your hero phase, they are both pretty solid.
Yeah. And then you've got the War Magi formation. I think I've missed off the artifacts here, which is a bit annoying. But anyway, there we go. Battle traits, command traits. No, just done that. Oh yeah, I'm out. I've run out of space. Oh well, they've got some artifacts. Who cares?
This formation, I would also argue, who cares?
Yeah,
like it just feels a bit weird. This involves a hefty investment of points, and if you're going to be putting these models in an army, there's other formations in cities that I think potentially make more sense. But you know, I could be wrong. What do you think of it?
I mean, it's just, what is it? Just like a mage into a Luminarch and a
battle mage, a Luminarch, and a Hurakan. And the second of them isn't a battle mage; it's just a Luminarch.
I think the ability is pretty strong. It's like +1 to the roll to negate wounds and re-roll the dice for the D3 mortals. It's pretty strong. I think if you're going to run those units in your army, it makes it 1 drop. It means they're all settlers gain. You're going to get that AOE negation with +1's pretty strong. They're both good. Like, they're both good Warscrolls. So
yeah, they're not. There's nothing in there that is crap. That could be your entire magical suite, I guess. But
I think sorry.
It's quite a points investment to do that when it's not going to decrease your army's drops that much. I don't think the drops is relevant.
It's 140 points, but it does give you an artifact and a command trait. I mean, I think having a 5-up ignore rather than a 6-up protection is pretty big. Like, that doubles the odds. That's
you can use them more resiliently. I guess if you've got heals in your army, then I would view it as having much more equity and potential than if you didn't. But I'm a bit lukewarm on that one, especially when there's such strong other formations available within cities.
I think if you're taking settlers gain, you'll probably always include that. I'm the opposite.
Okay.
I kind of think it's
all right then.
Very strong. So I do apologise for the artifacts. I've made a faux pas on that image. So
are there any significant ones there that stand out as being...
Well, I'm just gonna launch up the WhatsApp and find them, because I'm trying to remember what they are. But it'll take me a little bit of time. But yeah, so I think maybe I should use the book. Go old school.
This use the book. It'll be about page 100. Just to outline what these units do, because they are a bit renegade, apart from the kind of that brief patch where in like top tournament levels you had Mr. Maudsley running them around and stuff like that. You get a very long-range laser beam from the Luminarch of Hysh, which is, it's not like range 36 isn't something that you have access to in non-40k Games Workshop games very frequently, so that's not too bad. They're fairly resilient. You can use them to tank corners, and they survive better than your average mage on foot would. They buff other collegiate arcane wizards around them, and they've got I think they've got a couple of casts as well. So they are a fairly decent magical suite to have in your army. The issue that I have is that if you're not going balls deep all in on that theme, and particularly if you're taking this formation, things add up really quickly in terms of points. And they're adding up in a way where maybe you've got 4 models on the board or 5 models on the board or something like that, and you spent a large amount of your points. And even if they can affect your magic phase and stuff like that, they're not romping into combat and deleting your opponent's units. So the armies that involve this type of unit, they tend to have to be very specifically honed and crafted with a specific intent in mind, which is that they're a bit less flexible, I'd say, than other stuff.
Yeah, I just like the idea that it adds that resilient bubble, and it makes and that affects any order unit, doesn't it? It's not keyworded.
Correct. Yeah. As it takes damage, the debuff aura shrinks. So if people are playing against this, even if it is a bit more resilient, because obviously its aura is going to include itself, Once you've pinged a few wounds off that, it shrinking down makes a huge difference. Just like fighting against a frost heart or something like that. The first jump.
You've got heals, haven't you? So
you have the ability to put in heals, yeah. So I would. That's why I said I think if you're running these, you kind of pick that as your theme, and you have this really resilient core, this kind of utility suite of magical capacity. Putting in Amber Life Swarm or whatever it's called, Emerald Life Swarm, and taking some options for healing is probably a really good idea.
Yeah, and then you've got. Let me just take a ghetto picture, and then. So you've got the other side of this, which is you've got the artifacts. So one of these are only for the collegiate arcane heroes, but you set this game. But you got one which is on a 4+. You're not dead. You come back to life.
Right.
One is you don't have to reduce the number of spells you can cast in order to dispel an endless spell. Then another one is you can cast one extra spell. One is pick one of the bearer's melee weapons, add 2 to the melee attacks characteristic of the weapon. Amulet of haste, roll a dice after you finish a normal move, and they ran on a 2+, they can still charge.
Quite good for pinning stuff if your units have become more resilient there. People wouldn't expect that from a like a Luminor.
A guy on a wizard on a chariot, And, then you've got stone spirit armor. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to the bearer on a 6. It's negated. In addition, each time the bearer is affected by a spell, end the spell on a 5, you can ignore the effect.
That's not a bad option. You're stacking. Although you can't stack protection, can you? So if that's a Luminarch, you can't take 2 6-up ignore saves.
No, but if you put it on like the Hurakanum, then like if the Luminex's dead, you still got it. And then if you
or you can run them spread out more.
Plus you ignore the spell, right? So like it stops you being like gatewayed or something like that.
Yeah.
They also get spells. So there's this is Collegiate Arcane Wizards. So it's Drain Magic on a 6. Subtract 2 from casting, dispelling, and unbinding for wizards within 12 of the caster.
That would require some aggressive and pre-planned use of your wizards to be within 12 of other people.
Yeah, so I think you can get a wizard on a griffin, can't you?
Like you can, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's not a bad scroll either. It's got Wild Form naturally, which is quite a tasty spell. I think it gives you +1 to run and charge, and you can run and charge. There's other ways to get that in cities as well.
And you can take the thing that allows you to run and charge the artifact. Then you've got Shield of Light on a 6. Pick one for any unit within 12. On a 6, you basically ignore saves on a 6. And then you've got Illuminate. Pick an enemy unit within 12. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks and missile weapons that target the unit. So it's okay, short range, but I think not bad. Like I think like it's a bit more interesting than taking the other casty allegiance from cities.
It is. It's a bit more specific. You're going to have to think about your army, and it'll probably not involve you having some like 2-drop plan that always operates in roughly the same capacity.
But it would be quite nice taking like the I'll get the name wrong, but I think they're Vanari, they're like the Wardens and the Sentinels, because they're wizards as well. So they get the +1 to cast, and also like they're obviously missile units, so like with the Sentinels, so +1 to hit with them, it's not too bad. So I think make quite a nice themed army. You could paint them all in that lovely like cream and purple and gold, and have
you could. It's nice to tie rules of your allies together in a way that feels more than here's 1,600 points of one army and 400 points of another. So I'm pretty down for that.
You could even put Teclis in, right?
Yeah, you could actually. Very good point.
So I don't know. I quite like the Settlers gain. I think it's
more interesting than the other stuff.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool. But yeah, so sorry I didn't have the image of those artifacts, but there you go. Now other formations, there's some Ossicarch Bonereaper formation. Now, as an OBR player, don't get excited. I'll just say now. So it's a fairly pointless, in my opinion, formation. It's the same price as the other the Death Rider formation from the Battletome, and you have to be Stalactite Lords basically, which immediately restricts your like what you're doing with it. Stat Lords is not a bad like choice for when you're going cavalry heavy, but it's not ideal. So basically, you normally make the Leisure General anyway, and he's going to then get the artifact and the command trait from Stat Lords, which if you're a Stat Lord, you're going to have to take anyway, so it doesn't really restrict you. And then it says that pick a unit from this battalion when you use the Rally Back command ability, which is, I think, is the retreat and charge from Stat Lords. On a 4+, you get the point back. Obviously, it's a battalion anyway, so you get a point for having it every turn. But that's all it does, really. Whereas, like, the other Death Rider formation allows you to use the wedge ability for free each turn. So,
which probably you're going to get more consistent use from, or is, you know,
it's a better ability in my opinion. Yeah. But it's okay. Like, but there's another formation with exactly the same units in the book for the same cost that is a little bit less restricted, and the ability is probably on par, if not better. So I think you very, very rarely take this, because even if you took a Static Lord army, you'd probably take the other formation anyway. But it gives you the option. It doesn't really do anything exciting. Just as an OBR player, I wouldn't get too excited about it. It's not like there's anything cool about it. It's a bit mundane, to be honest. I think it would have been nice to be a bit more imaginative with either the artifact or the trait or the special rule.
Vanilla, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is a bit. I would wish the hero had a little bit more character injected into him. Obviously, there must be some story with him, because it's obviously
it's a named character.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Ven Breck stuff. Obviously, Ven Breck is like super cool, and his formation is super unique and interesting. And this guy is kind of very, very vanilla.
It doesn't feel like he got quite as much love as the Lumineth or the Nurgles.
Yeah, it feels to me. It just feels a little bit lazy. It's like, oh, so he's a character that you just take the same things you have to take on the character that's going to be the general anyway, and then we'll give you a formation and ability that isn't really interesting.
It looks like it's been written without the knowledge that the other one exists, almost.
I mean, you could potentially get 3 command points, discipline points back a turn, because you could, all 3 units could do the ability, and you could roll a dice, and on a 4+ you get it back. But it's
you know, like in match play, if some, you know,
it's not like you're
guaranteed.
Petrifix and you're getting the extra rend, and every time on a 4+ you get it back. It's not like that impactful. I just
it's not like investment equity overload, which is what a lot of the OBR kind of, you're heading in that direction, aren't you?
A bit. I mean, it does help you with Relentless Discipline. If you play Stalat Lords, you might take it. I mean, Rally Back, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't even know what it does. I think it's Retreat and Charge, but I haven't looked.
I think it is, yeah.
It's I think in Stalat Lords you get that anyway, or you get Run and Charge. There's a lot of overlap with the rules, so
it's not too cheap either. You know, there's quite a lot in that book that you want your formations to definitely be reliably doing something, and of course you get your RDP points for them and stuff like that, but they have to justify themselves, particularly when your army's so resilient that you don't exactly need bunny ears. Obviously, it's always optional to be low drop in OBR, in my opinion. The rest is off to research.
It's bugging me. So Rally Back is 1 Static Lords unit, blah 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 blah. Retreat, can retreat in that phase and still charge. So yeah, I thought it was right. Yeah, I was doubting myself, but it is retreat and charge. So
death for us. Target yourself for the death.
Yeah, I think not much to say about that really. Maybe
it called
like horrendous dead lance. I don't know. Then we've got Mortvale's Hell Court Flesh Eater Court formation. Quite useful because it's got an Arch Regent in it, which is nice because they're auto include. 1 unit of horrors, 1 unit of ghouls. They all have to be Hollow Mourn, so obviously that restricts you into a one of the, I don't know what they're called, Grand Courts that isn't that popular. Don't take battle shocks for units for this battalion wholly within 12 of the Arch Regent. Now, most Flesh Eater players will know your Arch Regent is sat at the back by the throne a million miles away.
Hidden in the throne so he can't be shot, or attacking 10 guys on his own.
Yeah, hiding until he's summoned his unit and he's buffed up the big bat to go in and go mental. So I'm yeah, whatever. Not really that useful.
No, skip it, in my opinion.
And then you can use the Ravenous Crusaders command ability without a command point being spent, which again I think is run and charge.
You like the other things that there's other ways to get that in efficient use of command points is frequently available in the slightly left field Flesh Eater Courts lists anyway.
And it's 100 points, so it's quite cheap compared to a lot of the other formations you get in Flesh Eaters. It's really shame that you're restricted to Hollowmourne. Otherwise, you might take that in any of your armies just to give you a command point artifact. And
it doesn't contain that many units either. It's not going to affect your drops massively. If that was even just 2 units of Crypt Ghouls or something, it would be quite useful. It's not like
but I don't think you want
battle line.
You don't want 2 units of Crypt Ghouls. They're not that good. You want 1 unit.
Or another hero or anything like that. Like, I mean, you are restricted to it, including 3 units.
Period. The problem with like bigger formations, unless they're units you want to take, the drops isn't, in my opinion, the drops isn't a massive issue. Like I just, especially for Flesh Eaters, I just think because you've got the speed, you don't really care. And like most Flesh Eater armies don't have low drop anyway, so it's not...
If I'm going to be, it's one of the ways that I justify them though. I'm always looking for a reason to justify the fact that I'm taking it, and especially if there's other options out there that are maybe a bit more expensive but a bit better, or just not taking on period is a good idea. Then I'm generally speaking that
command points are a premium. So formation gives you a command point, gives you an artifact. So Hollowmourn's the only thing. If it was like Gristlegore, it'd be quite a nice way to unlock a command point and a artifact on a big guy without much restriction, because they're not expensive units. You're going to take the Archregent anyway. But it's not. It's Hollowmourn, so it's I mean, it's okay, but they're narrative-y type things that you can take. So I'm not really.
Next.
Yeah. Probably one of the most impactful changes, I think, in this book for the existing stuff. I mean, if you discount Lumineth, because obviously they get an entire new book worth of stuff in one update. But we get the Nurgle updates. Now, when Nurgle come out, the Sloppity Piper, Scrivener, Beast of Nurgle, they were a little bit rubbish. They didn't really do a lot.
You took them because you like the models, but it was a bit of a concession, basically.
Now they've been like spinal tapped, so turned up to 11. So for me, like, these now become almost auto include in a demon army.
They feel borderline mandatory, don't they? And they are all good. You're going to be fighting with, maybe you now drop 2 of your great unclean ones because these guys just opened up some stuff, or something like that. I think
there's an argument to take Thricefold and there's a battalion that's in here in one army, and your army's going to be very low drop. But
okay, it's interesting.
It'll be a free drop army because I think Thricefold's 3 great and clean ones, and then you can get both your battle line, and you just have to buy 1 more battle line. So you can have like loads of Plague Bearers, the buff heroes, 3 great and clean ones, free drop army.
Solid, yeah. So that's more what I was talking about when I'm talking about battalions. That gives you access to something pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at the points cost. Am I going to take the units anyway? So even if it doesn't drop my army by 10 drops to 2, if it drops, reduces my army by 2 to 3 drops, but it gives me an artifact, a good special rule, and the units I'm taking anyway, it's going to give me a command trait. I might as well take it. If it's 100 points, anything that's around 100 points is just auto for me.
Can I talk about how I would justify this battalion then?
We'll get to it in a minute. Let's talk about the Warscrolls first. Well, we're not on the battalion. We're talking about the Warscrolls. So let's start with the Bile Piper. But you can when we get there. Just you have to contain your pustulary excitement.
Okay then.
So the Bile Piper, he's had his attack profile buffed. So
quite a lot.
He's now damage 2 with Rend. He's got the resilient save. He's 5 wounds, 5 up save, 5 up disgustingly resilient. Now, what has happened here is you get +1 to bravery for Nurgle Demon. You just hold it within 14. It's not really a big deal. It's not rubbish. But the next bit is the Jolly Gut Pipe rule. So At the start of the combat phase, you say that this model will play a tune. If you do, pick one of the tunes, and the effect of that tune lasts until the end of the phase. A unit cannot benefit from a tune more than once per phase. If a unit is affected by 2 or more different tunes, none of those tunes have an effect. So if you had multiple of these guys and they did different tunes, you can't stack the 3 different ones. They just wouldn't count.
So they need to be spaced out then. But you could do the same tune twice, and then you wouldn't be cancelling anything out. You just have a larger amount of the table affected.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got 3, and one is a stabbing we will go, which is +1 attack of melee weapons by friendly Nurgle demon units wholly within 14. So that's every unit within wholly within 14, which is good. Massive. Like that's
like
attack,
like a 7 to cast, 8 to cast spell, but just non-optional, and your opponent can't stop it.
Yeah, and you can do it in your opponent's turn as well, so you don't even need to go first. So if they charge you, you can still pop it. Then you've got early one evening, my pustule was sleeping. If an unmodified hit roll for an attack made by a Nurgle demon wholly within 14 of a friendly Battlepiper is playing this tune is a 6. It does a mortal wound in addition to normal damage.
Great, just solid.
Which is, you can't really... That's a fantastic one for doing mortals, especially if you're playing against it, because Nurgle don't have a lot of rend. So if
this guy gives you options, right?
Yeah. And then you've got my love is like a ripe fart. So models within 3 inches of friendly Nurgle demon units wholly within 14 of a Battlepiper cannot finish piling moves closer to a model from that unit than they were at the start. So essentially you can't pile in, really.
This is so much better than it sounds, like by miles. Outline how powerful that is.
So when you charge, say like, for example, you go to charge a unit and you roll like an 8-inch charge, and you move the first guy in, you move the other guys in, and you can't really get that many within melee range, then you pile in to get within range. This would just stop you being able to do that. So it essentially shaves 3 inches off every charge, because it really restricts what you can do. Also, if you're playing aggressive, you can charge into units and stop them piling in like a Keeper of Secrets, but it's automatic. There's no roll. You just do it. It's like, it's so strong, particularly if because obviously like they're resilient anyway, but this just reduces the amount of damage that's going to come at you. It
allows you to go all out offensive, and you're not even worried about being as resilient, because you might have literally a quarter of the unit that would be attacking you. Like if you think of Witch Elves, think how much that pile in with Witch Elves makes a difference to those tiny bases and multiple attacks each. Absolutely insane. Like, so good. I really like the aggressive use of it, but I think
defensively, it's amazing. Like
you're paying for flexibility with this guy, because he could do any of them. Whatever is most relevant, and you've got a tool for both phases, yours and your opponent's, that you can use in different ways. It is insanely strong. And
you don't even need to go, in my hero phase, I'm going to do this, anticipating what I need in the next turn. It's in the combat phase. You just go, I need this note now. Okay, it's on. It's just like, it's not, I mean,
why isn't this on like a 3+ or something? I know he's not a cheap model, but just getting it,
in my opinion, he's cheap for what he does. Like,
he is.
I mean, like you say he's not cheap, but he is. Like, I mean, he's a Herald of Nurgle anyway, which I believe buffs the Plague Bearers from Locust and stuff like that. So there's an inherent other stuff because he's a hero, he's a summon point, all that stuff that goes with Nurgle. But the point is,
he's not a wizard, but he's got spells that your opponent can't stop anyway. So who cares?
The thing is, it's not even like pick a unit. It's like every unit within 14. It's like it's like your whole army. Like you just go, my whole army is going to be +1 attack. My whole army is going to have 6s. And I think you take 2 of these in your army, like just for redundancy, and you use it to have a big bubble.
I think use it either side of center, and then if you think of like how Ideneth play or something like that, imagine the waves, the battle rounds, however you want to see it. You're going to go in like you probably want the same thing on both units. I'll just use Plague Bearers as an example, but let's say you've got 2 30s of Plague Bearers, got one of these behind each. You can use that to cover a large amount of the table. You might go in and be like, I need +1 attack. I want to hit hard, or I've charged my opponent. I don't want them to pile in. Or something like that. So you could go in, you could hit them super hard, and then they can have their pile in. And then the next turn, you're like, okay, both of these guys are stopping you from piling in any further. They're insane. 2 is justifiable easily.
He's 150 points, but I pay it.
Done.
Not even like compare it to a shard speaker, paying it.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about the other units, and maybe that's why you don't take 2, because there's some more nice options.
But like, you know, he's solid. I think it's such a good buff to an army, and it's been buffed through Wrath of the Everchosen. I think Nurgle demons are very strong.
Oh, they're insane. They were good anyway.
They're only getting better. Speaking of getting better, Spoilpox Scrivener. So again,
formerly never seen on a table in a competitive army.
Yeah, exactly. So they've buffed his damage again. Don't really care about that. He's still got the resilience save, and he's got this next ability, which is a little bit more restrictive. It's only Plague Bearers. So start of the combat phase, you can pick one. You can call for the count. Stop the count. Pick one friendly Plague Bearer unit holding within 14, and pick one of the following counts. It lasts until the end of the phase, and you can't have more than one count per phase. So you can't put multiple counts of the same unit, but you could have 2 of these into 2 different units. One is Tally of Blows, add 1 attack.
Yes.
So that synergizes nicely with 6's Do Mortals, or the other ability, which is +1 attack. So you're at +2 attacks already. And I believe there's a spell that gives you extra attacks as well, so you could be at lots of attacks. Then you've got Studied Lacerations, improve the rend of melee weapons by 1. Again, this is only Plague Bearers, so
Improving rend is still really good and very rare, and they have a lot of attacks potentially anyway.
But this is probably the go-to for your resilient screen, +1 save to the unit.
Yeah,
so
done. All of these, not on a roll for anything, very large range, you know, wholly within 14, not hard. You're going to be running this guy frequently, I imagine, to make sure that's a thing.
So you get you got minus. Say you got Wither Stave, so you get because you've got this new formation that we're going to talk about in a minute. So you got Wither Stave, you reroll 6s, you're at -1 or 2 to hit. You've then got, you can't pile in, and they got +1 save. You ain't killing anything.
No, it's a bit boring, but you know, you could just turn up with those. But then 90,
what
60,
I like about
70
it
Plague Bearers
is the next turn you can then switch it and go, I'm going to have +2 attacks, or I'm going to have mortal wounds and +1 attack. So you can almost absorb the impact. Then in your turn, do your spells, do your buffs, and then switch it and go, now I'm going to kill you. So it's like it allows you to like basically anticipate and do.
You don't even have to plan. Just wait until the situation. This is best now.
I mean, there are some stuff that gets around it. So like it's in the combat phase. So anything that could fight at the end of the charge phase, like Nighthaunt doing their charge or anything like that, will get around this. Start of the combat phase as well. So if they have stuff that fights at the start or happens at the start, they can activate theirs first before you get to do yours.
In their turn.
Yeah, in their turn. Yeah. And then in your turn, you get to choose the order. So there are a few timing things that might mean you don't get to use it, but it's very rare, and
they're all a price you're willing to pay for the fact that you can do this in your turn and your opponent's, right? If it was activate now until your next hero phase, you might get some turns for free out of it or manage to get around that stuff. But the fact that you can change these, I think that flexibility, that's an exchange I'm super happy with.
Yeah, and the Bile Piper becomes, I think, an a high priority target now.
Completely.
He's 140 points, so it's less points to the Great and Clean one for one of each. It sounds like a lot, but I think it's worth paying it.
And they've already got great battle line. Getting even more out of your battle line is great. Obviously, if you're not taking Plague Bearers, which is probably going to be rare, or you've got one unit and you don't think it's worth it,
always take Plague Bearers.
Maybe you don't take the Scrivener, but I can't. It's so hard to not be taking at least one of each of these, or one Scrivener and 2 of the Bile Pipers, which adds up to a quarter of your army in points. But you know, that's fine.
Yeah, and it gives you 3 heroes, which are decent. Then you've got
casting though.
No, but you get that for the Great and Clean one. So
you do.
Beasts of Nurgle have been buffed, so extra wound. They have got rather than having D6 attacks, I think they used to have. They've now got 4 attacks. They've got rend. They damage 2. The tentacles used to have like 1 attack at D3 damage, is now D6 attacks. They wound better, I think. Then you've got Disgusting and Resilient on them. Then you've got the slime trail. So when this unit makes a retreat move, roll a dice for every enemy unit within 3. On a 4+, they take D3 mortals. It can run and retreat and charge. In addition, when it retreats, it can fly. That's a new addition. So, like, if you get wrapped, you can still retreat and charge back in. And the next one is the Pestilent Battering Ram ability, which is when the unit charges, roll a dice for each model. On a 2+, that unit takes D3 mortal wounds. So if you had 3 Beasts of Nurgle in a unit, though you probably run them individually, they would all do on a 2+ D3 mortals, and then you roll that. You take the casualties after you finish charging, so they can't take you out of range and stuff.
Yeah.
So
the reason that Russ said you would run these as individuals, by the way, is I think it's I would never see myself running them anything but individuals, is because the acid slime trails is before this unit, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, makes a retreat move, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 of this model. So if that was 3 individuals running away, you would roll a dice and you get 3 chances at a 4+ D3 mortal wounds rather than 1 chance at a 4+. There's just no reason to run them in a blob.
And it's worth noting as well that you can summon all these units. So from summoning, plopping a Bile Piper down that suddenly does his buff, or plopping a Scrivener down to buff those Plague Bearers.
Of course. Well, that's the bonus of activating in the combat phase, isn't it? You can summon him and then he's going to be relevant in the turn.
Yeah, because you summon in the movement phase and in the combat phase he's going to be relevant, and you should be able to get wholly within 14 because you're 9 away from the enemy.
Easy.
So it becomes, I'm going to drop a thing that skews the maths in my favour for this combat. So you can really, they're going to be, I think you're going to want at least 2 in your collection of each, I would say. Beasts become a really good little summon as well now, just because those mortal wounds and that retreat and charge.
They'll only move 5, but they do get to run and charge. So I think they're nice potential lone rangers, and they're going to be annoying. You know, like this running into someone's 10 insert wounds worth of infantry here, whatever it is, 5 Stormcast or 10 skeletons, being doubled, losing the priority roll to someone with Beasts of Nurgle is going to feel incredibly painful, because they're basically just going to do the okie dokie, and then you're just going to have these D3 mortal wounds popping off everywhere. Like charge in, mortal wounds on a 2+, retreat, mortal wounds on a 4+ for each of them, and then do the same thing. Doing that twice, someone could have Fulminators with a 2-up rerolling 1s, armor save or whatever, and you're still probably going to do quite a lot of damage. I like the flexibility of the unit, because they've got something to get around armor, and then they've got quite a lot of, just average quality attacks to blend through normal units too. Flexible, and it's each enemy unit within 3 as well. If they charge into a blob, that's, it's like having a Heraldor going off or something.
Yeah, and it's 3 it's quite good, because normally like people have like characters hiding behind or like other things, and you could charge on the corner that just tags another unit, maybe a character as well. That's three things that could be hit. I like the Beast of Nurgle. 8 wounds, 5 up, 5 up. It's not easy to shift that, and like especially with the healing you've got in Nurgle through the wheel, through the trees, through your spells. There's ways that you can keep this guy sticking around. It's a pain. They're just a jaunty slug of fun that is going to annoy your opponent. So
they're 120 points, but I could see myself putting at least 2 in each army, and I could very much see myself, they'd either be miles apart or double teaming, and nothing in the middle. You'd be one on each flank to just.
I was going to say they make good flankers, or
they do.
Wankers, wankers on the flank. So I like it. I think they're. I love the model. It's good to see. Yeah. You always take 2 as well, because when you put them facing each other, it looks like they're high-fiving. So
solid, something.
Yeah, like go. I think it's a bit like the IDNF update in Marathi for me. That what they've done is they've basically gone, let's make these irrelevant scrolls more relevant, and it's just made the army a lot more
Plague Bearers were struggling, weren't they, Russ?
Well, the problem is, it's all you saw. But like the thing is, you never saw these Warscrolls. So again, they've made them more relevant by making Plague Bearers better. But you should see
exactly.
them. But one thing to note is that obviously Puscoil Blightlords are demons, so they've got the demon keyword. So the Bile Piper buffs them as well. So if you're into your buzzies, then actually that that does get the Rockbringers get a little side bit of love.
Yeah, they do. Improving their rend, their attacks, or their armor save, all of those are good options.
Yeah, I don't think that's the Scrivener though. So you'll get +1 attack, can't pile in, or mortals on a 6 from the Battle Piper. Yeah, the Scrivener's Plague Bearers only. Yeah, but still good. Then we have the Warscroll Battalion, the Invidian Plague Host, which
we run through the process of validating whether a battalion is worth it or not.
So you've got to take a Battle Piper,
okay,
a Scrivener,
I'm fine with that.
And 2 Plague Bearer units.
I'm fine with both of those. What's my tax?
The only issue about that is that the Battle Piper and the Scrivener are named, so they can't take artifacts or traits. But if you're going to take Great and Clean ones, you're not going to bother about that anyway.
Yeah, I can live with that too. So far, I've got no negatives. How expensive is it?
I think it's 120.
Okay, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not turned off by that. It's taken 4 units I wanted to take anyway, and taken my drops down. Where's the bad bit?
Well, the command trait, but it says if Gortal Pulpskull is your general, he must have this battle trait, but you don't make him your general, so you don't need to take it, so that's not a tax. It's crap, so you wouldn't know about taking that. It's another +1 bravery on bravery 10 models is not really what worth.
We're still good. So I spent 120 points or whatever.
The first time a Plague Bearer unit for this battalion is destroyed, a new Plague Bearer unit with 10 models added to your army, set the unit wholly within your territory within 6 of the edge, more than 9 for enemy units.
That's just insane equity. Yes.
But from a timing point of view, what you've got to imagine, like let's say you've got an objective here, and you've got your Plague Bearer screen here, and this is the board edge, yeah, and then the enemy come in and wipe this unit holding that objective out. You immediately put 10 Plague Bearers here, so just underneath, within 6 of the objective.
Yeah,
you just stop them capping it.
It's really good. That costs 20 points. There's a delay on it, but if the unit didn't die, then you're probably doing okay anyway. Like if neither of those units died, you've got 2 units there. Either of them could die, and you'll get 10 Plague Bearers.
But it's just when it happens. So like they could be killed in their hero phase. You could then set them up as a screen. Like, it's within a board edge, but like it's so good because you could even there's just so many options. I mean, obviously you've got no control over the timing because it's just when they kill the first unit in the battalion. But it's still like
3 models, mate.
It's 3 models that
I'll take a few restrictions on my free unit that came back in my battalion that effectively at that point cost me 20 points.
You're getting your 2 battle line units, your 2 heroes you're going to take anyway. You don't have to worry about giving them artifacts. I think if you take Thricefold and the Plague Host together, you're going to have a 3-drop army because you're going to have the Thricefold with the 3 Great and Clean ones, this formation, and another battle line unit of something, which is probably going to be Plague Bearers.
Yep.
That's 3 drops. Then you've got 2 formations, so an Great and Clean one can have an artifact.
Great and Clean ones are tooled up AF.
And the thing is as well, like you're in Nurgle, the artifacts are amazing.
They're great.
Like like Witherstave, you've got like Rustfang, you've got loads of amazing choices, and I just think you even the Nurgle's Nail, just on a 7, just kill it, stuff like that. I think
unless you take some of the fun ones because you've got choice to take so many, right?
Could even,
after you've taken the 2 best, you can take the third from best.
Be Law of Metal, like worse than the Rend by 1. Take your glittering armor on your fatty, whatever. I mean, I think that becomes so strong, and especially if you take the Wrath of the Ever Chosen Demon ability, which layers on top. I think that because I think you have to take a trait and an artifact from that. But what it does is it will allow you to mitigate the loss of the Witherstave, because I think you take that and you'd lose the Witherstave because you can't quite get it in, or you have to make a concession somewhere. But because you've got now another cheap formation with stuff you're going to take anyway, and you've now buffed your Plague Bearers even more, and I believe that Rotbringer, that sort of Nurgle Demon formation is quite strong. I think you take Mortals if you roll 1s to hit or something stupid like that. It just makes the whole army just insane. Like
that is a team tournament army just perfected in my opinion.
I think it's like any tournament. I just think it's so strong. I mean, you've got bodies, you've got range damage a little bit, but not really. But you don't really care. You've got resilient heroes, you've got spells, you've got wheel, you've got ways to do mortals. It's just you pretty much everything. I mean, like it's easy to paint, it's fun. Like you'll have a lot of fun.
It does
with
something in every phase. Even you got a little bit of shooting, but it does everything else quite a lot. A lot of combat. You're gonna have a lot of magic, like loads more than you would expect. Loads of heroes. Your battle line is super relevant. It's way faster than Nurgle ever should be. Nurgle is so quick on the table with your trees for run and charge and your bell for +3 move and all that stuff. It's an incredible.
What we'll probably do is try and write a Nurgle list on the show on Sunday, because obviously we haven't slotted this in. So what we might be saying about take these two, you might not be able to do it, but I think it's potentially like it should. In my head, I'm thinking mathematically it can't be that far away.
No, you just take one smaller unit of Plague Bearers.
Yeah,
I could go 30, 10, 10, something like that, because you're getting 10 for free anyway.
Yeah, I can't see you not being able to take it. I mean, I might be wrong.
Tune in Sunday to find out.
But we'll do it on Sunday. We'll do a live list. You can get disappointed. I mean, you could do the math now if you really want to. But
tell us if we're wrong below.
Tell us if you're wrong. Tell us that we're wrong, and we'll just ignore you. No. But I'm pretty sure you can you could fit it in, because like you're not really getting that much. It doesn't really cost you an awful lot. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not hugely taxing, and don't need to worry about losing units, because the units you do have, you're going to be getting disgusting returns on appropriately. With it being
I mean, it's just whether the heroes. You can fit it in. I've just done it, but it's only one unit of 30 Plague Bearers and 2 10s.
It's fine,
but
less dudes to paint. I'm down.
So, but it's it's good. So you can fit it in. So that brings us on to Lumineth, which strap yourselves in. This is going to be it's going to take a bit of time, because there's an awful lot here. I might need to go get some alcohol.
Scroll back through my 700 pages.
So I'm not going to cover the existing Lumineth stuff. We've done a few shows on army lists and tactics. We've done an Alaris Stoneguard list. We've done a tournament winning army list, Lumineth show. They're all in a playlist on the channel if you want to check those out. We've done a couple Lumineth list texts with Les, so like if you want to read those, stuff's been out a long time as well. So I think there's a lot of information out there for people to find out what it does, but we're going to talk about the new things. So obviously Aether Quartz is they've got the allegiance abilities in the book for everything Lumineth. Like, so they've done is added in the new Great Nations, and added in like the new units have got keywords and they get abilities. But basically like heightened reflexes, and like heightened sensors, magical boost, magical insight from the Aether Quartz is the same. You've got the Absorb Despair, which is the Kevlar Bravery thing, which is the same. You've got Lightning Reflexes, the same. And it just says Lumineth Great Nations. They've just added the extra ones that are new. So it's not really much change. So
only additions, no stuff disappearing by looks of things.
No. And now what we do now is we've got every Lumineth unit has a keyword, whether it's like Scinari, Vanari, whatever the others are. They give you a special rule for those models, but it's not like you have to pick one. That's all you get. Whichever keyword the model has, they get it. A bit like the Skaven Tide Battletome. So this Scinari or Scinari, I'm sure I'll get corrected, are deep thinkers. So these are at start your hero phase. You can pick any Scinari wizards and declare that they, instead of casting, they will contemplate. So you give up a cast, and then what that means is in your next hero phase, contemplating wizards can auto cast a spell at the power level of 9. So you don't need to roll. So you could say, I'm not going to cast next turn, I'm guaranteed this.
Roll's being pretty patient.
Yeah, it does, but sometimes on turn 1, like,
absolutely,
you're not in range to cast, so you just go on contemplate then, and then it gives you automatic spells.
I can see it coming into play once a game, always, but then very infrequently after that, due to that reason.
Yeah, and I think it's it's okay. It's just a little buff.
9's good, Stop. Like that's the big thing about this for me. It's guaranteeing is great, but guaranteeing it on a 9, unless someone's got significant boosts on average, they're not going to be getting rid of that. It's a huge difference between a 9 and a 7 or a 6.
Yeah, I mean they have to roll a 10 to stop it basically. You can't modify it, but it's a good enough value. Then you've got the command traits. So this is Scinari generals only. So you've got Spellmaster. Once in each your hero phases, reroll 1 failed casting roll for this general. So reroll casts, pretty strong. And you've got Lawmaster, knows an extra spell from the Law of Hish. And then Warmaster, if he's part of your army on the battlefield at the start of your hero phase, roll a dice on a 4+, you get a command point. So they're okay. I'm pretty sure you never take these because you're always going to take one of the great nations, which forces you to take artifacts and traits. So
I would imagine so, yes.
Then you've got artifacts. So you've got Phoenix Stone. It says it's basically if a Lumineth Realm-Lords hero is slain before removing it, roll a dice on a 6. It's not slain. Heal all its wounds. And then it's back to life basically. It comes back to life, which is okay.
It's you'd only take that if you had a spare one that you don't care about too much. I think it would really screw with someone's head. When that stuff happens, it's bordering on impossible to play around, and people shouldn't be playing around it too much because it's so unlikely to happen. But when it does, it's awful. So if you got a spare one, that's the type of thing that I would consider.
Yeah, and you've got the Silver Wand, cast an extra spell, which is fine. And then you've got the Blade of Leaping Gold, which is an old school one from High Elves, if people remember. Add 3 to the attacks of that weapon, which could be quite good depending on what the Scinari heroes are. I can't remember off the top of my head, I don't know. Vanari, I think, is already in the Battletome, so I'm not going to talk about those. That's the Vanari, the Shining Company, so that's like the Wardens, the Dawn Riders, and the Sentinels, I believe, of Vanari. The Hurakan are the new Wind Elves. Is that we call them Fart Elves? No. The gas dudes. So you've got move like the wind. Now this is pretty strong, right? So when you make a piling move with Hurakan model, it does not have to finish the move at least closest to the nearest enemy model. In addition, when you make a piling move for Hurakan model, it can move an extra 3 inch if it charged. It can move an extra 3 inches and it can fly.
That's insane. Like at high level play, that is disgustingly powerful.
Because you could even charge people to not fight them, to just move past them onto objectives or like
hop over them. I think it encourages you to be in not massive units as well. Since I can this entire Battletome, as far as the Lumineth are concerned, actually, I think really actively encourages hit and run guerrilla warfare style play, multiple small units, that type of stuff.
And when they get charged as well, like if you get charged, you can almost like pile in away from them. So if they don't activate that unit straight away and fight you, you go, well, I'll activate this unit. I'll now pile in backwards. So it's going to limit the damage you take. So
damage limitation and just free extra move is how I'd be viewing that. It's like playing with skinks almost.
And you can almost do this. You could almost have like units here and have like your Hurakan unit here. They charge the Hurakan unit. You then like pile it in here. If they pile in, they draw these 2 units in. So you can do lots of stuff like that. If you've got like Avalon or someone like that, you can always pile in behind him to terms of where you can pile in, but you're going to get within 3 of Avalon. And like what I think it allows you to do is correct positional mistakes that you make.
It does as well.
But if you're a good player as well, I think there's a lot of movement shenanigans you can do.
It's the kangaroos and stuff that are going to be doing this.
So Hurakan models are like we'll get to it. I think it's I'll quickly scroll through. You'll see all the stuff that we have to look at I believe it's the Wind Mage, the Wind Chargers, Severeth, and the Spirit of the Wind. I believe that's all the Hurakan ones. So it's basically the kangaroos, the llama, and the fox.
There we go. So, anything that's got a certain animal face.
So you go with those, not the cows. The cows don't get that. So there you go with that. So then you've obviously got the command traits. So you've got like 1+3 move, replaces Wind Leap ability with if friendly wind charges unit starts a move wholly within 24, it can make a move of 16 and fly, which I think is the same. It's just a longer range.
Yeah, it is.
And then you've got Lawmaster, knows extra spell from the Law of the Wind. And then you've got Artifacts, Wind Blast Fan. Once per battle, start the enemy movement phase, pick one enemy unit within 3. The unit must retreat.
That's really, really powerful, especially in an army that gets to debuff loads of units anyway. You could leave one alone and then just push it off.
Yeah, and even like if you did something funny, like you charged one thing and then you piled in to draw another unit just within 3, and then they pile in and hit you, then you're like, no, you've got to run away now. So yeah, I think it's pretty solid. Anything that manipulates movement like that is super good. Isn't it? Yeah,
all of it.
It reminds me a little bit of like how the Sinesh stuff plays with the shenanigans.
Yep.
Then you've got the Windstone. Once about in the shooting phase, you pick an enemy unit of an 18. Roll a dice on a 2-1. Nothing happens. 2-4 takes 3 mortal wounds. On a 5-up takes d6. Random. You could end up doing less if you're on a 5-up, but anyway.
Yeah. We'll come to that in a bit.
That doesn't make much sense to me. But then you've got Buffeting Aspergillum. Is that like a buffet of asparagus? I don't know.
I sound like I'm down.
It was like buffeting wind from asparagus farts, maybe. Roll a dice each time you
rolled over from the Nurgle Battletome.
Yeah, I'm just for me, they're all just like they're on little parpy clouds now. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to the bear on a 5-up, it's negated. So it's all right. It's good if you put it on the fox dude. He's pretty good. The spirit.
Standout choice for him, I think.
Then you've got the Hurakan Wizards. So Teclis knows all the spells from the following table as well. So it's another spell law. So they've obviously got the Law of the Stone, they've got the Law of Hish, and now they've got the Law of Wind.
The Book of Bookkeeping. It's quite a lot to keep track of, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So you've got Freezing Squall on a 5, one enemy unit within 12. That unit cannot run until next hero phase. Howling Gale on a 7, enemy unit within 12 cannot benefit from command abilities. That's pretty good. That's
is this within 12 or wholly within 12?
Within.
Okay.
Most stuff that's enemy units should be within. If it's wholly within, it's probably an error. Then you've got Guiding Flurries, has a cast of 7. Pick one Lumineth Realm-Lord unit armed with missile weapons that is wholly within 12 of the caster and visible. You could say the spell lofts the missiles and directs the missiles, or directs. If it lofts, add 6 to the range. If it directs, then add 1 to hit rolls.
Both of those great.
Yeah, really super solid.
Encourages you to put your shooters in a bigger blob. Just worth noting, if you do have something like that, you're going to be able to buff 30 dudes or buff 10. Buffing 30 is often going to be better, or 20.
It's pretty good on Sentinels, isn't it? So
it certainly is, yeah.
Then you've got the Calming Zephyr. Pick one Lumineth Realm-Lords unit wholly within 18. You can heal D3 wounds allocated to the unit. In addition, do not take battle shock tests for that unit until your next hero phase. So,
all right.
Okay. Then you've got the Burning Simoon. Casting on a 6. Pick one enemy unit within 12 that is visible. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in the unit. For each 6, they take a mortal wound. If the cast was a 10 or more, they take 1 mortal wound for each 5-up instead of 6. So with Teclis, you can guarantee a 10 because you can just say I'm casting 2 spells on a 10. So it's 5-ups mortal wounds. So it's pretty good for that. I mean, especially if you've got the mirrors, which I think you always take the spell portals when you've got Teclis. So it's I think he's got another spell that can go through and do damage. So it's that's pretty good. I mean, obviously you're going to put 1 through the mirrors, but it's pretty good.
We're going to come to the subject of running out of points, I think, at some point in this, because there are a lot of options.
Any Lumineth player will already attest to that already, particularly if you take Teclis. So then you've got the Transporting Vortex on an 8. Pick one Lumineth Realm-Lord unit wholly within 12. Remove from the battlefield. Set them up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 for the enemy. You cannot move. So a teleport, which is just always amazing.
Yeah, you're going to take that on someone, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Yeah. Then we've got the terrain piece, which is the Shrine Luminor. So when you choose a Realm-Lords army, include one Luminor terrain feature. After territories are chosen before you set up your army, must set up the Luminor wholly within your territory, more than one from other terrain, more than 6 from any objectives. At the start of the first battle round, so from where any objectives will be located at the start of the first battle round. Okay, there you go. So
yeah,
it's
once per turn you can reroll one casting, dispelling, or unbinding roll for friendly Lumineth Realm-Lords hero that's within 12, not wholly within. That's that's a fairly solid option. And from the second battle round in your hero phase, if it has a Shrine Guardian, you can say that they will channel the Shrine's power. If you do so, add 12 to the range of this ability. So something within 24 inches can get a reroll, which is just great. It's solid.
And then you've got the Guardian can also use a command ability without spending a command point.
It's a lot of utility from that terrain piece, isn't it? Some armies' terrain pieces are a bit situational or feel a bit odd. Everything there is probably going to be incredibly useful in most situations.
Mm-hmm. And it is a garrisonable piece of terrain, so you would garrison your wizard in, which then gives you the impact of -1 to hit, +1 save, all that kind of stuff. So it
also like line of sight to everywhere in the world.
Yeah, you do on this floating temple. So I think that the shrine's pretty good. It's a fairly big piece, so I don't know if it'll be easy to put down. But yeah, it's
looks
quality.
Great too.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2 new Great Nations. So you've got the Great Nations of Aluminum, or Alumnia, or Aluminia, or Alumnia. Whatever you want to say. I was playing into the aluminium, but it's Alumnia, I guess it is for like the alumni. So after armies are set up before the first battle round, up to 3 Alumnia Vanari or Scinari units can make a normal move but cannot run.
That's great.
Good.
That's really useful.
Pushes back alphas, so it's good, and that's your spearmen, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty good.
Really good in MSU or big blob armies. It helps you get your big blob closer to the enemy, or it helps you put your screens forwards, which really screws up the decision of your opponent to take first turn or not. I think that's the big powerful one there.
So I think this scenario, like the Swordmaster guys and those people, and the Vanari, like your Dawn Rider, Sentinel, and Warden. So use it aggressively to get Sentinels longer range. You could use it defensively. You can use it aggressively for Dawn Riders. So
does this happen before or after you know who's going first?
Well, it's after armies are set up, but before the first battle round. So if you have the choice, then you would know because you can choose. But if you don't have the choice, then you won't know. So then you've got a command trait, which is Burning Gaze. So at the start of the combat phase, pick an enemy unit within 3. Roll a dice. On a 2+, they take a mortal wound. So
boring.
Yeah.
Mature analysis there from me.
Command ability, seize the moment. You can use this command ability in your charge phase. Pick one friendly Illumina unit that ran. The unit can charge.
Less boring.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
Then you've got the artifact, which is the Waystone. Once per battle in your movement phase, instead of making a normal move with the bearer, you can pick a point in the battlefield within 12 of them, remove the bearer, set them up again within 1 of that point, more than 3 away from enemy units.
A couple of things worth noting there. That means they won't score objectives, correct? Because they haven't moved?
Unless you charge, yeah.
Unless you charge. And for the purposes of some abilities, I'm not sure if there are any.
When you say won't score objectives, it depends if it's the one where the hero has to move to capture it.
Got it, yeah.
So normal objectives you will, because you just have to be there. But like if it's like duality or something like that, where it's like after you finish your move, you can claim control. That's not a move. That's a setup.
And you don't get it. So you have to
a charge. Pile in. It could be used quite aggressively because you can almost like do that 12-inch point and then 3 inches, then 1 inch of that point, but then your base is the other side of it. Yep. So if you imagine you've got you could put it on the big cow dude, the non-named one. So that's 12 inches. Then you've got the 1 inch. Then you've got the base the other side. That's quite a big distance. and it's only 3 away from the enemy.
Yeah, that's a charge waiting to happen, isn't it?
It's pretty good. And then you can almost back him up with a unit that's running and charging from the other command ability, because he can use that command ability because he's a hero, right? Because he's got an artifact. So,
of course, if you've got a debuff as well on that thing, then that's just it's gonna definitely get you to a point where you can affect multiple units potentially.
The command ability is weird because it doesn't actually say from a hero. It just says use it in your charge phase, picking an alumni unit that ran.
That is a good point.
So what's it? You just don't even need a hero to do it? Like,
tweet. Pending an FAQ, I imagine.
That's a bit random.
That needs some clarification for sure.
Yeah, so Alumnia.
Solid options. Quite potentially aggressive and also flexible. So I like that one.
Yeah. Then we've got the Great Nation of Helon. Nice sort of green and cream scheme, looks like.
Yeah.
So you've got the Gale of Killing Shafts. Add 1 to attacks of missile weapons used by Helon models that are within 3 of an enemy unit.
That's a bit weird because a lot of the units with multiple shooting attacks, the ones that are going to have a large effect from this army, probably don't want to be in combat with people, right?
Not with your kangaroos, because you can like charge. They can do their piling stuff. They could get within 3, and then it might be okay. Because you can obviously shoot, and then when you do your piling, you can pile in out of combat.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Like I think it's. For them. But you
don't use that on your wardens though.
Well, you could be quite clever where you could have your wardens and your sentinels stood directly behind them within 3 inches of the front of the wardens, but not actually in a bit like a shield wall with an archer unit behind it, like a phalanx, and just be like, well, actually, you can charge the wardens. You're going to drag the sentinels into combat, and when they shoot you, they're going to really shoot you.
The way that I would use this is if I am fairly certain it's going to result in me nearly wiping out the unit I'm in combat with, that has got some utility, because then it's just, potentially doubling the damage potential of the unit, which that's really good. So you could charge 20 wardens into 40 fairly resilient things, give them a +1 to hit or something, and have them at double attacks and completely ruin someone. But if they get hit back, they're going to suffer.
Yeah, but it's missile weapons, so it's only on sentinels. It wouldn't be wardens. They don't have shooting.
Yeah.
And then it's only you wouldn't be able to charge and do it because charging happens after the shooting.
You're preparing for a turn ahead of them, which
it's a defensive ability, but it's quite good on stuff like you've got a lot of the new I keep getting the name wrong, Hurakan units that have got shooting. Then you've got the Gone Like the Wind command ability, not Gone with the Wind. Use this command ability at the end of the combat phase. Pick 1 Helon unit that fought. It's wholly within 12 of a Helon hero. That unit can make a normal move, but cannot run. It can retreat. So that gives you a fade away move after you fought. So at the end of the combat phase. So that's quite good. That allows you to get out of trouble. You've got the command trait, the Skygrace Grand Champion. Once per battle, you can reroll 1 run roll, 1 charge roll, and 1 casting roll for this general.
That's really good.
Yeah. So it's all 3 of them. So that's a good command trait. I like that.
It's a very good command trait. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got the this is really good. The artifacts, Metallith Dust. Once per battle at the start of the combat phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 3 of the bearer. If you do, subtract 1 from hit rolls and wound rolls for attacks made by that unit until the end of the phase.
It's incredible. They've got a billion ways to debuff hit rolls, but very few ways to debuff wound rolls. So that adds up really nicely, and it's just it's reliable. There's a lot of once per battle stuff in this book. You're going to have an incredible amount of bookkeeping if you build your army in a certain way. You're going to have like a laminated tick sheet.
Yeah, you're going to need some tokens, I think.
Yeah.
Head over to Pro Painted to get your tokens. So then we got some Warscroll Battalions. So we've got the Hurakan Temple, which is Severith, Lord of the Seventh Wind, or 1 Hurakan Spirit of the Wind, a Hurakan Wind Mage, and 1 to 3 unit of Wind Chargers. If a unit for this battalion is wholly within 12 of a hero of the same battalion at the start of the combat phase, the models in the unit count as having made a charge move. So basically what that means is they're always going to get their extra piling and their fly ability on the char pilings.
Yeah.
So it's from being Hurakan units from their Allegiance ability.
This costs 180 points. Is it worth it?
Potentially, it could be most of your army. Like if you had like 3 big units of wind chargers, a wind mage, and the guy, it could be. I think this changed from what I saw before. It was pretty broken before. I'm glad it's changed.
Maybe it retained the points cost.
I think maybe the points have stayed the same, and maybe it shouldn't have done. But it's it's a large number of your models and units that could be in there. So then you've got the Star Shard Battery, which is the Scinari Calagrave. Oops, I've gone too far.
Those wind chargers can be battle line as well, just to point out. So that is, that's worth considering if they're in the right army.
Then you've got Scinari Calagrave and 3 to 5 units of Vanari Star Shards, which I believe are the ballistas, or there's the Vanari Star Shards. Yeah, Vanari Star Shard ballistas. There you go.
Yep.
Maybe there'll be something else that's it doesn't say ballista at the end, so
no, it doesn't. Maybe they just couldn't fit it in.
maybe someone who's particularly rules is written means that formation can never be taken because that unit doesn't exist. But actually, you don't have any Vanari Star Shards. You've got Vanari Star Shard ballistas, and they don't count.
Fantastic. If you're playing that person, just leave the game.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there'll be an FAQ on that. I can't imagine that being what's going to happen for
So in that battalion, you put your ballistas within 3 of each other. Place its warding lantern's ability with roll a dice each time you allocate a wound. That's a lot of text. For
basically, it's a 5 up instead of a 6 up. Ignore, I think. Which is
that better be cheap, or I would not consider that. 120, no. Moving on.
Then you've got the Blade Lord host, which is 1 Vanari or Scinari hero in keyword bold, so that's quite nice. And 2 to 3 units of Blade Lords. These can be battle line as well per hero you have. That's Scinari, I believe. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by melee weapons from this battalion that target an enemy unit that has made a charge move. So if you get charged, you get reroll 1s. So
all right, so it's a cheaper one. It's 100 points, and that could include your battle line. But in an army where your points are at a premium, I just don't think that's as it doesn't work if you charge. It only contains. It's quite a flexible hero, Vanari or Scinari. But I don't think that's particularly seductive.
No, I mean, it's okay. I'm not that fussed about it. If you're leaning into them, you might take it. But again, there's quite a heavy points cost, and I think you'll find that when you're playing... the Blade Lord host is only 100, so it's not too bad. There is another one called a Battle Host, but you can never take it in a match play tournament unless you're playing 5,000 points, so I've not put it on the screen.
Skip that one.
Just so, yeah.
Let's talk about the units.
Yeah, so there we go. Let's try to get warmed up for this one. Lyrior Ufral. Maybe? I don't know. Lyrior Ufral fights with the confidence of a demigod. There you go. It's this is the named character on Llama.
Okay.
So
fantastic.
He's also got the Metrica keyword, so that would force you to. He wouldn't get the benefits of your city unless you were your Metrica. But he's got a shooting attack, which is 1 shot, 2s, rend 2, damage D3. He's obviously 6 wounds, 3 up save, 16-inch move. You've got the Demon Bane weapon.
His shooting attack is just his shooting attack and one of his melee attacks do 3 damage to Chaos Demons, and bullying them a little bit more.
Then you've got the Regent Sword, which is 5 attacks, 2s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. Horns and Claws, 4 attacks, 3s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. Not very particularly impactful damaging. He has the Purest Aether Quartz, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target this model. Why not? Add 1 to casting rolls when attempts to cast Greater Power of Hish. if this model is part of a Lumineth Realm-Lords army, it uses the last Aether Quartz reserve. This ability cannot be used by this model for the rest of the battle. So if you don't have any Aether Quartz left. He is a wizard, which is fairly decent. Gets 1 spell. Greater Power of Hysh is on a 7. Pick D3 Lumineth Realm-Lords units with the Sun Metal weapon ability. Until the next hero phase, the Sun Metal ability of those units cause mortal wounds on a 5 instead of a 6. Now that is Sentinels, I believe, and Wardens and Dawn Riders, I think.
I believe he's also not the only person to have access to this spell. Just of note, I think someone else has got it in the
there is a generic spell which is Empower Weapons, I think, which is a different name, but I think it might be called Power of Hysh. It's 1 unit.
Okay.
But it doesn't stack because it just says on a 5 rather than a 6. So even if you had it twice, it wouldn't be a 4. It's not +1. It's just on a different roll. So, but it does do D3 units at once, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
and then you get +1
tasty.
to the casting roll because of his purest Aether Quartz, and then you could burn Aether Quartz to re-roll as well, which is pretty good. -1 to hit him. He obviously gets all the pile-in shenanigans. He's got the Sun Metal weapon as well, so if the modified hit roll for his Regent Sword is a 6, it does a mortal wound. So then the attack sequence ends, and then he's got the Voice of Tyrion. So if the model's part of your army is on the battlefield, and Teclis is not part of your army, on a 2+, you get a command point.
Yeah, start of your hero phase. That's each hero phase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good ability. Is he? I mean, that adds up if you're going to be using those CPs. He's fast. He's only got 6 wounds and is 210 points, but he does have a 3-up save. Could you see this making its way into your armies?
I think what you've got to remember with his defense is that he gets the pile-in shenanigans.
Yeah.
And if you're playing like Sentinels, I think it's another way of getting. It's like a double chance to get the mortal wounds off, but you could do multiple units. I think he's very good, and I think your Metrica gets bonuses to cast anyway.
210 isn't too much. It's just you're going to see that wounds profile and his cost, but he's got some amazing abilities to justify it.
He's quite fragile, but I'm glad he is.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you've got the Vanari Lord Regent, which is the unnamed version of that character, which has got the sword and the claws. It doesn't have the Demon Bane thing.
Yeah, his spell does have exactly the same wording, so you can't use it multiple times.
Yeah, his spell does, but there's a spell that does it anyway on a single unit.
Okay.
It's in the book. It's in the original book. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's the spell that the Sentinels can cast themselves. But yeah, so it's not. But yeah, he's exactly the same. Has less movement. Doesn't have the Demon Bane thing. And obviously doesn't get the. That's it, really. That's the only difference. Doesn't have your metric.
150 points.
Is it really?
Cheaper.
That's a lot cheaper. That's 60 points cheaper. I think I'd be tempted to take him rather than the other guy.
I can see points being tight, so I think that's going to be, if you did have the extra points, maybe take the other guy. But the wounds and the save, they've both got -1 to hit, so they are the same amount of resilience, and your eggs feel like they're in a slightly less expensive basket if you go for a cheaper one.
I'll protect those eggs.
Yeah, you gotta.
Then you've got the Banner Blade, which is the ridiculous standard bearer. With his 3-up save, 5 wounds. He's got some attacks. Don't really care. He's got the World Banner, so it's not the. It's a bit like the old Banner of the World Dragon. Yeah, but it doesn't do that. So add 1 to bravery of friendly Lumineth Realm-Lords units with a wholly within 18. Add 3 instead of 1 if any of those Blade Ball bunnies is within 3 of enemies. So if he's in combat, you get +3 bravery. It's pretty good because bravery on Lumineth isn't amazing. So especially when you use Aether Quartz, you get debuffed. So it kind of like counteracts the debuff of burning Aether Quartz. So
of course he's got a once per battle ability because everything in the entire book has. So
roll a dice for every enemy unit with 18. If the roll is equal to or less than the number of the battle round, they take D3 mortal wounds and -1 to hit rolls.
Good.
And it's start of any phase. So You could do that in their shooting phase. You could do that in your combat phase, their combat phase, the movement phase, whenever you wanted to do it. So hero phase. Obviously,
you could have done some magic and, you know, not killed a couple of things by one wound and just be like, screw it, I'm popping it early, because it would make a difference.
What's quite nice is if anyone's got ability like fight in the hero phase or fight at the end of the charge phase, you can pop that ability and give them a -1 to hit because they're fighting out of turn, because the -1 is that phase. So like, it's a bit situational, but say for example you're playing against daughters and they've got the Slaughter Queen and they can fight in the hero phase, and you go, right, I'm going to pop this because I want that unit to be -1 in that hero phase. So it's quite unique in that way.
Yeah.
And again, he's got sun metal weapons, so there's mortal wounds on a 6 to hit.
I could see him being one of the first things to get dropped from lists because he's quite cool, but when points are tight, you might not have his 110 available. But
it's quite cheap for what he does.
Yeah, it's only once a game. That's another thing, though. Like,
but even
cool.
Just a free up save 5 wound hero with 4 attacks.
Yeah,
it's like it's not
bad.
Awful. Like, I do quite like him. I'm sorry for the out of focus picture here. And we've got the Vanari Star Shard Ballista. So 5 wounds, 5 up save. It's got a 30-inch range, 2 attacks,
Decent.
freeze, rend 2, damage D3.
Got once a battle ability, of course.
Why not? You're gonna have to seriously get some tokens.
You really are.
Pick the unit to shoot, you can say it will fire its blinding bolts. If you do, enemy units that are hit by attack are dazzled, -1 to hit. Again.
It
can't be dazzled more than once per turn, though. You get vajazzled because it's Vanari and it's dazzling. Is it vajazzled with bolts?
Definitely, I can see no issues with vajazzle bolts.
Vajizzled. And then you've got the Messenger Hawk. At the start of your shooting phase, you can pick 1 enemy in 24 of a Realm-Lords hero and 1 friendly Star Shard Ballista within 24 of that hero. If you do, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by the Ballista to the end of the phase. So basically, like, if you...
Anywhere.
It doesn't really... If you've got a hero alive, you're probably okay. So, but you
just
get
think that it's hitting on 2s most of the time.
And then the Warding Lantern, which we touched on, is a 6-up bounce save, and you get +1 to attacks if it's not moved. So it's 3 attacks, 2s to hit, 3s to wound, rend 2, damage D3. It's pretty good.
It's not bad, but I could, once you've spent 100 points on that, you could have taken 10 dudes that have slightly less range, but have more bodies and can do mortal wounds and stuff like that. So I love the model on this one, but I can't see taking more than 2 of these. I can't see, being like a consistent theme and you taking a martial force with 4 on your back lines. Or do you reckon stuff like that adds up over a few turns, but again, points are going to be...
I don't know if anyone can take Lumineth allies, but this would be a good ally, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad one. The Stormcast one saw a fair bit of ally play.
I don't think Lumineth do ally with anyone. I think that's one of their things. They're a bit hoity for that. They don't really...
It would fit well in Deepkin if they had the option for it. That'd add up with Deepkin armies quite nicely.
Yeah, it's a bit like what you used to do with Celestial Ballistas before they went up, right? So because they were 100. I don't know. Like, I think it's cool. I like the model a lot. I think it's quite nice to have the little lanterns. You can do some OSL on there. So for me, like, repeater bolt throwers were always a big thing in High Elves. Like I'm a big fan. Lumineth models, jokes aside, the Sentinels, the Wardens, the Dawn Riders, the Ballistas, all the Vanari stuff, I think look really good.
Yeah, agreed.
Like,
I love it. I think
the martial standard stuff, when it starts going into like cows on heads and fluffy clouds and kangaroos, it loses me. So,
I love you described all those things that are present in one army. Like either one of any of those 4 would have been fine. 4 is maybe not fine.
And like, can we just to tassels? Like, just no. They're all getting cut off. If I ever take Lumineth army, they're all getting cut off. When I build them, they're all getting sanded off.
I'm going to chop off the bits that hold the tassels on people's heads or just swap the heads.
That too.
More efficient.
I just want the old High Elf helmets. What was wrong with them?
The conical ones are classic, aren't they?
and it was quite unique to. Anyway, I'm going to want to whinge.
On the subject of old high elves, we have a unit that has an ability called Swordmasters. Wonder what they are.
I wonder if the Blade Lords are the AOS Swordmasters, maybe.
Yeah.
So you've got. I mean, to be honest, I've got my old high elf army. I could just use that as a Lumineth army because like they're nicely painted. But anyway, Vanari Blade Lords, 2 wounds, 4 up save. So these are the Swordmaster equivalents. They've got Sun Metal Great Blades. Now, I didn't see the Sun Metal rule of the Mortals. They don't seem to have it, which I find a bit weird. When all the other Sun Metal weapons seem to do Mortals on a 6 to hit. But anyway, so the Seneschal's got an extra attack. Then you've got a roll a dice before you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a Scinari model within 3 of any friendly units with this ability. Basically on a 2, you must allocate the wound or mortal wound to a friendly unit with this ability instead of to that model. So it's
not optional. You just have to do this. You have to roll a dice, and if it's not a 1, they take the wound instead.
So the scenario, like the character casters, like the Kevlar, the new ones, which is the Caligrave, the Law Seeker, their scenario, I believe. So they're like the sort of the mini heroes you have. So good way to protect them. So
quite nice for your opponent because they could just plow, every single. Apart from the fact that Lookout Sarah exists, if you're willing to accept that, you could just plow all of your shots into this unit, kill them, and then go for the hero, or you could plow all of them into the hero. And, you might do a few wounds on him, but you will also damage quite a lot of the dudes. So the fact that it's not like a 50-50 split or anything like that on a 2+ is pretty reliable.
Then you've got the... from the Swordmasters, you've got the Great Blades. You can choose 2 attack profiles. So the 2-inch reach, which is nice.
It's good. I'm glad to see it.
You've got 1 attack, which hits automatically if you pick this profile. 2's to wound, -2 rend, 1 damage. Then you've got the Flurry of Blows, which is your attacks is equal to the number of models within 3. Which could be
when they got a 2-inch reach, but it's people within 3. Normally see.
Oh no, it is within 2. Sorry, it is within 2.
Okay. There you go.
There you go. Maybe it's not weird. It's not me. So nice spot. So so it's kind of like the Decimator ability, but it's nice that you can pick. I'm not sure, like 1 attack per model, 1 damage is maybe it's not. I don't know if it's enough, but
it's a bit under. And then also 2 inches is really, really different to 3 inches, which a lot of the the type of you can do damage equal to the amount of models within models. It's been 3 quite frequently within the game before, so
I think I would have liked to see rend 1 on that and damage 2 on the other.
Yes, yeah, agreed.
It just seems like
Blade Lords.
They're Blade Lords. They sound like they should be choppier. They don't seem particularly choppy.
120 points for something that doesn't have an after save, has less attacks than I would think, and 120 points for 5 models.
Yeah, but that's like the Stone Guard as well, isn't it? I think they're 100 points.
Yeah,
I think the Stone Guard are better.
I would agree.
They're slower. I mean, their movement's 6, so then you've got the 4-up ignore spell or endless spell.
Yep.
Yeah, a bit underwhelming. I think for me, like damage 2 on the perfect strike and rend 1 on the flurry would have made them a lot more appealing.
Yeah, both of those feel a little bit underclocked, don't they? And there's no mortal wounds on a 6 going on, which you just would expect to see.
Yeah.
I like they got range 2 and 2 wounds, and 4+ save isn't to be sniffed at, but slightly underwhelming.
I don't think you'll be taking big units of these.
No, God, that'd mount up in points fast.
Scinari Caligrave as a hero. He's the guy with the funky shoes and his calligraphy pen.
Is this okay? So I don't like his shoes, but I believe when I read his rules, I was well into this guy. Okay, this guy's got some cool rules writing going on, but there is a little bit of a weird oddity that we'll come to towards the end of it.
Besides his weird shoes. So
so what's his once per battle ability, Ross? Does it involve minus to hit?
In your hero phase, instead of casting spells, with one model with this ability, you can roll a dice, add the number of the current battle round on a 5+, pick a point anywhere on the battlefield. For the rest of the battle, do not take battle shock tests for Lumineth Realm-Lord units wholly within 9 of that point, and add 1 to casting, dispelling, and unbinding for Lumineth Realm-Lords wizards within 9 of this point. So he writes a rune that basically
he
means
forgoes his spell. I love the writing behind that. I think that's a solid mechanic. I think that's really cool. You know, you could definitely see, well, that's going to make a difference on some people who've got powerful spells anyway, isn't it?
I bet they didn't take the opportunity to release a rune on the sprue with this model. It would have been so cool to have a little rune you put on the base that you
pop
popped
it on the base.
Yeah, you imagine like a glowing
rune,
rune, like Battletome or something, you know.
You could always selectively just cut a circle around one of the shields that's got a rune on it, and plant like 2 of those back to back on the base. That would be a cool objective marker.
Yeah, you do get a lot of spare shields on the sprue as well.
They are wonderful shields. Chop them up. Okay, spell wise, right? I'll take this one because I think this is weird but cool. So this model is a wizard, attempt to cast 1 spell, blah, 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 blah. It's Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, and Erasure spell. So Erasure has a casting value of 7. If successfully cast, pick 1 enemy hero within 24 of the caster. You can either inflict D3 wounds on that hero or mark them for Erasure. So you're doing one or the other, and I'll tell you what the other does. However, if that hero is already marked for Erasure, then instead they suffer D6 mortal wounds, and they are no longer marked for Erasure. You would never, ever, 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 if you're thinking logically, mark it and then do the D6, in my opinion. You would just do D3 twice. It's way more reliable. It involves you not having to, be in range next turn, being alive next turn or something like that. I love the idea of it, but just do D3 twice, right?
I think they should have just gone, it's D3 and you're marked for Erasure. And then if you get it again, then it's D6. So it'll be D3. The next cast will be D6.
Yeah, or make the casting. If he's targeting someone who's marked for Erasure, like your +1 to or +2, or even like +3 to cast, and it's D3 again, just to make it more reliable or something. And then you could carry on pinging the same dude. But yeah, that D6. I love the idea. It's really cool. You've marked someone and you've got a honing missile on them, but mathematically that does not work out. What if you roll a 1 in your D6 mortal wounds, or a 2, or
2d3 is better than d6.
Oh yeah, just
so you're never ever going to do d6.
No, a third of the time you're going to get the minimum possible roll from those 2d3, and that's like a 1 in 6 chance.
It's just bizarre.
I think the math doesn't work on any level whatsoever.
I mean, the only time you might even ever think about it is there's like a 5 wound hero that can heal itself, and you're like, oh, I mark it because I don't want to do 2 mortal wounds, and he heals it, and then I do another 2, then he's back to full. Yeah. That's the only instance I can think of, like
in that situation. But yeah, a fantastically cool idea, but math has not been done, basically, and you shouldn't ever use the second option apart from Russ's Blue Moon scenario.
Yeah,
he is Scinari Caligrave, 100 points. Not bad for a wizard.
Cool
5
model.
Wins, 5 up save. Oh yeah,
I like the helmet on him. Actually, I quite like the hoodie, like sweeping wizard hat.
It's super classic. Take his clogs off.
I don't know.
He's good.
I like the clogs. Then you got the Scinari Lore Seeker.
Lore Master of Hoeth.
Yes. So he's got a shooty attack. Freeze, rend 2, damage D3, range 12.
That's quite good. Yeah,
not bad.
If you're within 12, that's really not to be sniffed at. Rend 2, freeze and freeze.
Blade, which is 4 attacks, 2's freeze, rend 1, damage D3.
Anyone who's ever used a Sword Master is now just vomiting everywhere because this is what they always wanted.
He's got the Lore Seeker ability. If he bears an artifact, if an enemy model that bears an artifact power is slain within 3 of any friendly models with this ability, you get 1 command point. So you kill an artifact guy, get a command point.
Once in a blue moon, but it's kind of cool.
Well, you can engineer it a little bit because of his next ability, which is Lone Agent. So you can add 1 to save rolls if this model's more than 9 from any friendly. So he's got a 3-up save. Mm-hmm. In addition, instead of setting this model on the battlefield, you can place it to 1 say, and say he's being a Lone Agent in reserve. If you do, at the start of the first battle round, before who goes first, you must set this model up on the battlefield anywhere that is more than 3 from enemy units not in your territory. If you set him up within 6 of an objective that has no enemy units within 6 of it, you gain control of it, and your opponent cannot gain control while this model's within 6. It's potentially amazing.
It's potentially insane. He is a wizard, he knows one spell, and he just knows Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield. But you're going to get to pick a spell from the book for him, aren't you?
Yeah, but also what you can do with this is you can basically use the teleport spell from Teclis, put a big shield around him. He's basically set up on an objective that's on the middle line in their territory. You're going first. You just go, right, teleport the big unit of wardens around him. Yeah. You ain't getting to him. You ain't getting that objective. You're going to get that, have that. And if it's a duality or something like that, you guarantee it's just really, really good.
Hard to shoot at as well, because if he's being shot at when he's not within 9 of any... You can add 1 to save rolls for attacks that target this model if it is more than 9 from any friendly model. So if he is a Lone Ranger, he's going to have a 3-up save. It's really powerful, but he is also probably, arguably, fairly costed at 160 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's worth it.
Yeah, it's a cool mechanic. He's like a shard, more than
so
3 from any
unique.
units. Yeah,
and you can either use it like you're going to go first, put him 3 away from a character of an artifact, charge him in, chop him up, get your thing.
Yeah,
it's solid.
If there's ways to buff, he's an obvious potential recipient for some cool chisel.
Plus, he's got some really sexy wrestling trousers with his stick-on knee pads, so it's.
He's yeah.
If I was naming mine, I'd give him really stupid names like Tasselhead and stuff like that.
He looks like a Blood Bowl character, doesn't he? I always thought that the guy on the clogs too. They've got enough personality that they could be star players or something like that.
Perchy. Then he's
cool.
Yeah. Now we've got Eliana and Elafor, the Eclipsian War Sages, which are Scinari, Vanari, and Metrica. This war scroll has got loads of rules. It's all tied into the battle round. So they have 6-inch move, 8 wounds, 3-up save. You got fetching jumpsuits on again, which is we love. But anyway,
yeah, we do. 2 casts, 2 unbinds.
Yeah, so you've got the abilities: add 1 to cast to spell and unbind. So that's pretty good. This model can be included as an ally in armies that have an order general. In addition, if this model is within 3 of your general, on a 4+, you get a command point. However, this cannot be a general. So this is actually a really good ally in most armies because you just get a command point generation in any order army.
I quite like that as a mechanic.
So, and because they're like the realm, they wander around the realms. It's quite a cool thing. You've got Altari. So he's got this enchanted blade of awesome power. There you go. And the damage is equal to the battle round, which sounds a bit, but then it's only damage 1 in the first turn, but you're probably not going to be combat on turn 1. No. Turn 2, he's damage 2, 3, then 3, then 4, then 5. And he's 2s, 3s, Ren 2. That's pretty good. Imagine him getting into even damage 3. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, damage 3 is solid with that. And that's not all the attacks either. You've got then 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage D3, and 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. So this would slay crap units very efficiently.
Then he's got his Dragon Ball Z Fireball Hadouken move, which is once per battle in your shooting phase, you can,
of course,
once per battle, unleash a blazing sunbolt. Pick a point within 12, trace a line. Anything touched on a 2+ takes a number of mortal wounds equal to the battle round. So potentially, if you did it in round 5, you could one-shot heroes. If you got into position, you ran down the side or something and just do 2-shot, 2 5-wound heroes.
Really scare people. Or if you've got a way to move.
Teleport.
Yeah.
Or move. Yeah. I'm a big fan. I don't know. I really like these rules. I think like the battle round tick up thing is amazing.
Yeah, this book feels like that. Like all the love that could have gone into the OBR battalion has been ladled generously over the Lumineth stuff, because there's a lot of stuff here that we haven't seen before.
Speaking as teleporting, so
okay,
at the end, sudden translocation. So if he uses the weapon for too long, he gets overwhelmed and he's forced to be transformed. So basically, it says like at the end of the combat phase, roll a dice if this model fought in that phase. If the roll is less than the number of the current battle round or less than the number of wounds allocated to the model, heal D6 wounds, then remove it from the battlefield, then set up anyone on the battlefield that is 12 inches, more than 12 inches from enemy models. If that's impossible, it is removed, but does not count as being slain. So there's no choice involved.
No, kind of cool. You're normally going to have space somewhere. It's just you might be forced to be somewhere poo if you're.
You might be like, I really don't want to teleport away here. But it's kind of funny. I mean,
if you're covering the table and you've got a few shots, you'd absolutely ping a couple of wounds on this. It's 8 wounds and 3 up save. If you had, some Rend 1 shooting about or a magic missile, you'd absolutely go through for that chance of, if you get 3 wounds on it, then when someone rolls that dice, they've got a pretty good chance of having to go somewhere else. Yeah, it's a cool one, isn't it? Because it's not good. It's not bad. It's situational.
It's just funny. It's going to be like, there's going to be times where you're going to be like, God damn it. Why have you, it's like his annoying sister on the back. Like, no, stop it. You're being too aggressive.
Stop it. You're being extra.
She's like, no, come back to me, Timothy. That's not his name, but and then like, it's Eliana's like, no, you're doing too much. Come on. We're only here for allies. Like, stop it. She's ruining this fun. Like, he wants to blaze and go crazy, and she's like, no, calm down.
No.
Calm down.
So it's pretty squishy with not too many wounds. 3 up save, 8 wounds. What would be helpful? How about
a spell?
Salvation of Fish. So casting value is 6 if successfully cast until your next hero phase, not just this phase. That's nice. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound, and basically you get a 5+ negation. And it's for wounds and mortal wounds, so anything that gets through your 3 up save. That makes a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Ability to have. It's got 2 spells as well.
And that spell will affect in any army if you allied in. But I think just having the command point generation is really good. I think in an order army, it's a good unit to have.
Yeah, I think you need to think about, do you want this thing to be next to your general? What type of general do you have? And then that will be that's the reason to take this model or not.
Well, I think
if you've got
early game, you're like, I'm near my general, I get a command point, I cast 2 spells. Then late game, you're like, I'm going to run, I'm going to charge, I'm damage 4, I'm going to do my bolt, I'm going to do mortal wounds from that. I might then have to teleport away to then do nothing in the last turn. But you get that one impactful turn of spike damage.
Yeah.
And
you might be teleporting away to be, close to an objective or something.
To teleport back to an objective or somewhere else ready for the last turn to go and
go stand next to your general and get yourself a CP or something.
Yeah.
It's
well, you could
you're gonna have to
charge
play this very
teleport
actively
back and then get a CP. So it's quite cool.
I don't know. Bacon.
I think it's so interesting. I think I'd love to play with it.
Yeah, 260 points.
Can we just have a moment of silence for Alfarian?
Yeah. Soz should have been corporeal, shouldn't you?
Should have been, could have, would have. Now that highly sought after Alfarian point slot is just decimated with so many better options.
Oh yeah, it's pooped on, isn't it? Athariel and Sigvald getting sad together, wishing they were 30 points less.
Yeah.
Cow time. Or llama time, or alpaca time.
It's wind time.
Okay.
The Hurakan Wind Mage, which I know you're not going to like this, but the model, I really like it. I don't know why. It just reminds me of World of Warcraft, Mr. Pandaria flying around on your little cloud.
It's that one.
I knew you were gonna. As soon as you realised, you were gonna be like. Oh.
Okay, I will read his rules under the presumption that I could not use that model or could chop his cloud off.
Oh, he's got the Aspergillum.
Great.
He's got the asparagus.
Okay, right. Okay, asparagasm, range 3.
That's what you have whenever you have asparagus.
If I go to a fancy restaurant and they treat that asparagus right. Range 3, not bad. 2 attacks, 3 threes, rend 1, damage D3. Not an awful profile. Range 3 is kind of cool. Asparagus has obviously got a longer reach than I thought. Fan of Redirection. Add 1 to save rolls for attacks made with missile weapons that target this model, period. No restrictions. In addition, if the unmodified save roll of an attack made with missile weapon that targets this model is 6, after all the attacking blah, 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 you can inflict 1 mortal wound on 1 enemy unit within 9 of this model that is visible. So, he gets a save against shooting attack.
He deflects the bolts with his fan. He's like, ting, ting.
He's got Wind Leap. If a friendly Wind Chargers unit starts to move wholly within 6 of this model, so if it's a big unit, that's going to have to be bunched around him quite a lot. When it makes that move, this unit has a move characteristic of 16 and can fly. So the windy units have got fairly decent move characteristics. The actual units, maybe not the individual models, but getting fly is still great, even if you're only getting 2 inches extra move or something like that. Fly is a super flexible ability. He's got Windblast Vortex spell, casting value of 5. If successfully cast in your next shooting phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 9 of the caster and roll a dice. On a 2+, they take D3 mortal wounds. So it's some ifs to that, but basically there's a good chance of doing D3 mortal wounds to something that is pretty close to you. You can cast this too and then run towards them, which makes the range less bad than it initially seems.
Yeah.
So he's kind of all right. He's got a 16-inch move because of his stupid cloud. It's not bad, is it?
I quite like the idea that you in the hero phase, you like power up your little stick, like whoa, and then you move 16 inches and go pow,
Pew!
pew.
Yeah. When you roll a 1, you're going to feel really disheartened about putting your
lightning cloud
with his dick flapping in the wind about to get reamed.
Yeah, but it's fine because he can like pile in like away from the enemy, and he can stop you piling in, and he can like fart on you.
I cannot see myself frequently spending 120 points on him when you have so many other choices, but I could be wrong. Giving something fly is solid. That's not to be underestimated, but they have to be close to you when they start their move, which is potentially restrictive.
And he does get access to the spells. Yeah, Text and Hurricanes. He gets spells, windy spells, so he gets access to those.
He can, he can move. He's got a 16-inch move, so he can get within range of stuff to affect it with shorter range spells as well the next turn. But he feels a little awkward to me, and I don't like his cloud.
I'm a big fan. He's really grown on me. I don't know why. I think it's so ridiculous. It's like Monkey Magic Cloud Man.
He's marmited himself with his general.
He's won a place. I kind of want to paint it because I just want to paint the cloud. It's really nice texture on it. I'm like, it is really nice. I'm not winding you up. I'm not winding you up. I'm sorry. So, Kangaroo Men.
Okay, more down with these guys. Strange aesthetic, I must say. These are, to start off, these are just a bit cheaper than I thought they would have been.
Yeah.
They are 130 points for a 14-inch move, 10 wound unit with an alright but short range shooting attack.
How are they like 10 points more than Blade Lords? Like,
pass.
Like, just looking at it, you're like, they've even got like a rend 2 damage 1 attack that's freeze and freeze, which is almost the same profile as the Greatsword. It's more, but you have to roll to hit. Then you've got claws, and you've got a ranged attack with rend, and they're faster.
They ignore cover modifiers for their save rolls with attacks made with a Wind Charger bow. So interestingly, that is the ranged attack and the melee attack. People don't get cover modifiers for. So in some situations, that Wind Charger bow is rend 3 in melee, or rend 2 with shooting, which is actually really, that is a significant buff that you don't see on the profile, but then you read, and that's going to come into play quite a lot. You know, like maybe a third of the time you're going to be benefiting from that. Rend 3 sounds disgusting.
And you can bounce over terrain. When it makes a move, it passes across terrain in the same manner as a model that can fly.
It's a bit weird because you can give it fly, but you can also make it act as if it flies. So
and then if it charged, and it piles an extra 3 and it counts as flying, and you don't have to pile in closer. Yeah. So
they're powerful, right? They're going to do a lot on the table, more than is represented when you just read that scroll, which has got not too many.
And they could be battle line, right? In a Helon army.
They can, yeah.
So if you take Helon, which I believe is the city, isn't it? Which is the one that we talked about being a bit strange.
The green clothed hit and run one?
Yeah. So add 1 attacks and missile weapons Helon units within the 3 of the enemy unit. And then you've got the Metallif Dust, because I think the dust, the artifacts and the trait on one of the Fox dudes that we're going to get to in a minute is really good.
This is for me. This blob of stuff that we're going to talk about here. They're extra windy guys, apart from Cloud Knobhead. They are I love the theme. The models are pretty cool. Their hats, make more sense to me. But the entire like guerrilla specialist feel of the troops, I think is probably the most interesting blob of Lumineth stuff that there is. I could absolutely see myself playing an army like this and hating painting the opals and stuff, and removing all the tassels.
I can't paint them. After that, doing that box set of Wardens and Dawn Riders, it broke me. But
they're at least quite nicely elite. You wouldn't have too many dudes in there.
Still a lot. I mean, like if they're 130 points for 5, you might have like what, 30 of them?
Like 10, 5, 5, I could see.
Yeah, so like 30 mounted kangaroos, plus Monkey Magic Cloudman, plus probably 2 of the Fox guys, and then some other shit around the edges. I mean, like...
Cool of the whatever you call the Celestant Fox. It's like a prime, but it looks better.
Yeah. I do think they're good. I mean, especially their battle line. I mean, like, even if they're not though, like, the Vanari and Sentinels are still really solid. Like, you just
130 points for fast cav is a bargain, and they don't normally have that many rules, and they definitely don't normally hit that hard with shooting and with a small amount of combat.
How many points are Dawn Riders? Like, it just seems like Dawn Riders are like, they've got to be like 150. Are they cheaper than Dawn Riders? It seems a bit ridiculous.
It's a bit mad, isn't it?
It is when you look at Bliss Barb Seekers. Sinesh.
Look what I have next to my laptop.
I know. I stand built mine. I'm so behind on everything in my life. I just suck. I just feel like I don't know where the time goes. Just it's like, oh, it's another day gone.
Since contemplating strange Monkey Magic Cloudman, probably.
I know, and I don't even know why I'm starting to think about doing a Lumineth army after seeing a purple colour scheme and looking at Cloudman a bit too much. And I'm like,
this is what happens when you get a full book, I think. So I think Lumineth are definitely, for people like myself who've bagged on them quite a lot visually, the moment you get the entire Battletome, surprise, surprise, there's different parts with different themes, more monstrous size stuff, which I'm always going to be into, and cooler rules, or more flexible rules, or more customization from items or temple equivalent, stuff like that. So I'm definitely more on the Lumineth than I was with their previous releases.
Dawn Rider's the same points, 130. So
what do they have? They're insanely fast Dawn Riders, right?
Not that fast.
Don't they have a? Oh no, is it an ability to teleport them that came from the previous book or something that I'm thinking of?
They're good. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dawn Riders are good, right? 14-inch move, 2 wounds, 4 up save, so pretty much the same.
Yep.
They've got they're wizards.
That's it.
Power of Hish. You did some metal weapons on a 5 rather than a 6. Yes, that's where that's the Power of Hish is the weapon that gives you that sun metal explode. Lances get +1 rend, +1 damage. Sun metal weapons, so they do more all wound and the attack sequence ends. Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, they're not bad. Like, but you could do an army 100% with Dawn Riders and Wind Chargers, and Dawn Riders can be battle line as well.
Yeah.
For each unit of Wardens you have. So like Aurelian Wardens. So for each Vanari Aurelian Warden unit, including your army, you can take one Vanari Sentinel or Dawn Rider unit as battle line. So you could do quite a nice looking army where if you took like a martial core of like a couple bolt throwers, the spearmen, the archers, and a unit of cavalry, then you could put in all the wind stuff, and you could almost use it like a swap round of like, oh, this army I'm going to put the stone guys in, this army I'm going to put the swordmaster guys in, this army I'm going to put the wind guys in.
Without Teclis, you open up a load of points. I think, and I guess,
yeah. I mean, the danger for me is that you just will want to have everything. Like, you'll want to have an army with every single thing in it. You'll want, like, you'll go, I'll buy that as well, and I'll buy that, and I'll buy that, and I'll buy that. Damn,
be impossible to play as well, isn't it? Because each thing buffs a specific type of other thing slightly better and stuff like that. Whereas I guess when we come to our list show on Sunday, we'll be able to discuss this. But I think there's probably a lot of strength in taking the non-specific stuff. So, you know, things that do well on their own, things that debuff your opponent, things that are going to kill your opponent, you know, vanilla bits and bobs, nuts and bolts, rather than, obviously there will be some strength in the cohesion armies, but the type of army I play, at least, if I'm going to be able to use it how I want on the board, I think, you know, maybe popping in a mountain model for the debuff and attracting attention on him and then having a load of stuff darting around it, I think that would be a pretty cool army to play with and to look at. You know, you've got 3 different heights in there: 4 infantry, cavalry, flying kangaroo, large cow.
Cloud.
No, he would not feature.
He's giving everyone on my list, just to annoy you. Then
Stop it.
We've got Severeth, Lord of the Seventh Wind. Mm-hmm. He's your Metrica as well. 24-inch move. Like,
all right. And that, like, started well.
What? I mean, that's ridiculous. 10 wounds, 5 up save, bravery 10.
Bit worrying. Yeah.
And he's got
18-inch shooting attack. So, you know, that is, his threat range is 42.
Which is not getting away from him.
No, you're not. Like, okay, then.
The worst thing, though, is it's a 24-inch move with a charge with a pile-in that doesn't need to go towards the thing you charged. Because he's a wind man.
Let's just cover the shooting attack as well. 4 attacks, good start. 2s, great. 3s, solid. Rend 3, damage D3. That is, I think this guy is the reason why I'm a bit down on the profile of the bolt thrower, basically. Because, you know, I could pay like 100, I could have 2 bolt throwers effectively in terms of the damage output, because it literally is. You know, it's only slightly worse. You've got 4 attacks instead of 3 twice, which become 2s to hit. He's 2s to hit already, 3s to wound, yep. And then he's better rend. So, you know, I could buy 2 bolt throwers, or I could have a 24-inch moving crazy character dude who's got half a page worth of other rules for 30 more points. Or whatever it is. Severeth. Okay, I lied for
he's 300, so he's 3 bolt throwers, effectively.
3 bolt throwers, but he's got quite a lot of other runes, and rules.
Yeah.
Let's run through them then. What does he do?
So, obviously, he's got 3-inch reach on his weapons, which is quite significant when you've got the Into the Gale ability. So he's got roll a dice to allocate a wound or mortal wound on a 5 up is negated.
Good. That makes his 5 up save sound a bit less bad.
Subtract 2 from the distance enemy models can pile in while they're within 3 of this model.
That's great.
Like, to a minimum of 1. So, like, if they got a 1-inch reach and a 1-inch pile in, they can't hit him.
Oh, that's so good. You can have like 4
and then every turn you can just back away. Because when you pile in, you don't have to pile in towards them. So you can literally charge it with a 1-inch reach that's got a normal pile in and just never ever get hit.
I'm going to make an army if you carry on reading out rules like these.
Like, that is redunculous. And it's not even like, it's just if they're within 3 of him. So, like, it means you can use that on your other units as well. Because, like, the Wind Charger bow's got a 3-inch reach in combat as well. So your Hurakan Wind Chargers could do the same thing.
Yep.
Then he's got the Living Cyclone, Roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 of this model after this model makes a charge. On a 3+, it takes a mortal wound and -1 to hit until the end of the next combat phase. Oh,
yeah.
That is because it's charge phase. That's why. Yeah, I was getting worried. A unit cannot be affected more than once per phase. Then you've got Scour. Start of the charge phase. Pick 1 faction terrain within 1. If you do, the model cannot charge, but you can roll a dice on a 2+. The scenery rules of the terrain featured Warscroll cannot be used for the rest of the battle.
Yeah, potentially right, but I don't see it coming up much.
It's quite good if you destroy like Fane, you can destroy the Ossicarch Bonereapers Nexus, you can kill an Idenef bow, you can kill summoning points from.
People still get cover though, because it doesn't say destroy the.
No, you don't get to use the Warscroll rules. So, like a Fane of Sunesh, for example, you wouldn't be able to summon from it. You wouldn't be able to sacrifice to it. You wouldn't be able to use the rerolls from the Khorne altar. You wouldn't be able to use the pizza oven. I mean, there's loads of stuff that...
Just got to view it as an additional, rarely useful, but when it is, you're obviously going to use it because it's going to make a big difference to the game. So it's a nice plus to have.
I think it's you underestimate how good it is. The fact it's even stuff like
I guess he can reach anything. I guess he can reach anything he wants.
He can still shoot, and he's not charging anyway. And some of the terrain features are quite big. I mean, Sylvaneth players just shedding another tier, slowly dying inside book by book. Then you've got the Searing Desert Wind. After this model makes a normal move, including if it moves at the end of the shooting phase, we'll get to that. Pick an enemy unit that has any models this model passed across. On a 3+, it takes D3 mortals.
Pick 1 enemy unit, so it's only going to be one of the things he passed across. But that's great, 3+ for some mortal wounds. Yes, please.
But you can move across a unit, do it, shoot something, then Spirit the Wind. End of the shooting phase, you can make a normal move for 12. So then, but it says it can retreat, and it can also then retreat and charge. So you can then move across a unit again, do another D3 mortals, then you can charge something and then fight it.
So you could hopscotch over the same unit twice, have 2 goes at a 3+ D3 mortal wounds, shoot it, and then charge it.
Yeah.
Just bully something.
Yeah, and that effectively gives him a move of 36 inches.
Oh, everything about this guy's rules are so
you don't cool. You don't have to. You don't even have to shoot. You don't even have to hit anything. You don't have to wound anything. End of the shooting phase, it can make a normal move of 12. So he's got a 24-inch move, a 12-inch move on top of that, then a charge, and then he's got a 6-inch pile in, which doesn't have to be towards you. And then you can only pile in. You get to -2 to your pile in.
Yeah, and if you're taking some damage in your hero phase, if this model is within 12 of any friendly wind mages, including Poopy Cloud Face Man, you can heal up to D3 wounds.
Well, he's the only wind mage, isn't he?
Oh. Is it only him?
It's only Poopy Cloud Man.
Okay, well, he still wouldn't be in my army.
Yeah, he will.
That model is, he's 300 points. That is not cheap, but he is going to be immensely irritating.
It's like prime level, which is why he's that cost. But
you've got to figure as well. His 10 wounds are going to go way further than I think, because number one, obviously, he's got a 5+ after save, so that's effectively 13 or 14 wounds, or 13.3. You're then debuffing things that are within range of him, and things can't pile in against him as effectively as a normal thing could. So that 10 wounds on his profile and a 5+ save is the effective wounds you get out of that 10 is probably far more. He's kind of like playing with something with 18 wounds, I would imagine, which suddenly makes 300 points sound a lot less steep. And he's 2 bolt throwers worth of shooting, in addition to all the other pingy, shooty, flyy, awesome stuff. And the model's cool. So he is cool. I like him.
Then we've got the Hurakan Spirit of the Wind, which is the non-named version.
Mm-hmm. So he's 50 points less. He's got like 1 million rules less. Let's see how he goes.
So basically, what he loses the D3 mortals when he moves over you. He loses the Scour.
He loses 2 wounds. He loses 1 rend.
Yeah. But other than that,
yeah, he's got 5 up. 2, the pile-in thing happens. Cannot run retreat. You can put other items on him. So the way that I would evaluate this is how much value are you going to get out of the ability to give him a command ability if you want him to be your general, or to give him a artifact, and is he going to be the person who gets an artifact in your armies?
Well, like if you take him an artifact, just for example in Helon, the Metalith Dust, once per battle at the start of the combat phase, pick an enemy within 3, subtract 1 from hit and wound rolls. So
Solid.
if you charge, they're -2 to hit, -1 to wound.
Yeah.
Like I just, yeah, I'm a big fan.
Which one do you like the most?
I'll take one of each.
Okay, solid.
Because you've got one person to put artifacts on, so you take
550 points of double team flying kangaroo power.
Why not?
Is
You've got 2 of them. You take your cloud man to follow them around because
4 bolt throwers worth of shooting effectively.
Yeah, and they're just so mobile, and then your whole army can be kangaroos.
He doesn't get to ping people twice for the D3 mortal wounds.
No, he doesn't do the mortals at all.
Oh, he doesn't do it. He doesn't get to do it once.
No, but it's like the fact you can give him an artifact, so you can use him as a way of protecting the other one.
Yeah, the other artifact is good. He's a 5th less survivable. Yeah, if you would take him 1, that's quite a hard choice. You know, if you only have points for one of these dudes, I am not sure which one I would be picking.
I think it depends. I think like if you've got the points, I think you always splurge for the more expensive one. The only difference is he's Geometrica, so he doesn't get the Great Nation rules as well from the nation he's in. So he's specific to Geometrica. So
got you.
It's both viable. I think the fact it's not obvious is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're talking about 250 points for 8 wounds that doesn't do any magic here, so it better have some good stuff attached. And
it's fine because the Tharian's like 220, right? So
poor Tharian. Maybe
the
that will be fixed at some point.
Right, okay, we can carry on now. So, his empty suit is empty like his life, an empty life. empty. The Arminist is empty of a Tharian, like his suit is empty of anything. So,
not enough apricots in the world to make that dude happy.
It's like he's empty inside. Then we've got the Underworld's Warband, which is Mari Lightcaller and Mari's Purifiers. Now, I'm assuming they've been pointed so they don't cost less than the actual hero. No, they actually cost 220 points. Okay. So you've got a 5 wound Geometrica Scinari wizard, which has Dazzling Light, of course, on a 6. Until next hero phase, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target the caster, and 1 from hit rolls made by missile weapons that target other units within 6 of the caster. So,
bubble ability, quite a small bubble, but you could protect 10 dudes a bit.
+1 to cast, unbind, and dispel. In addition, at the start of the hero phase and the start of your shooting phase, pick 1 enemy unit within 24 that is not visible to this model. That enemy unit is visible to this model. Okay, so you can like see it's the owl, isn't it? He's got a little owl. This model's a wizard, so 3 attacks, 18-inch shooting, freeze, rend 2, damage 1.
All right,
it's okay. And then you get the Purifiers, which are 3 models. Then you've got add 1 to damage if you roll a 6 to hit on the mallet, which has got 3 attacks. It's damage 1, so it'd be damage 2 on a 6.
2 plus they
bounce
absorb
wounds. Yeah.
Yari's wounds. So one thing you have to consider is if people wanted to shoot that guy for any reason, he's very likely going to be -1 for Lookout Sir and -1 for his spell. But there's other stuff that adds up to about this amount of points that I could see myself using more readily.
Would you take Alfarian over this unit? Sorry. Because Alfarian's 220 and this unit and this wizard is 220. I'd say no.
No.
Alfarian.
Yeah, no. All right,
Just
then.
have
Yeah,
a
I
moment
think
of- I'm gonna have to get a black armband or something. This is like a fairy.
He's especially as he doesn't have as many dudes with him. I know they're fairly good quality. 2 wounds each, 4 up save, and their attacks aren't poo, and there's a bow and stuff. But it feels like it's 40 points more than it should be. That 220 could be 180 points, and I would be more likely to take it.
You could say exactly the same thing about Alfari. He could be 180 points, and you might see him. No, I'm kidding.
Is that it? Have we
done
covered...
it? We've done it. Hooray, we've done it. For it.
Sweet. So I think safe to say that we found that more exciting than Lumineth has been previously for either of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff in that tome. Absolutely.
I do like. So I'm not so fussed on the Scinari. I think the Vanari stuff's always been good anyway. The Swordmaster guys, nah, not doing it for me. Apart from the lone guy, the Lore Seeker, he's awesome. Like, I think for me, like the Lore Seeker, I like Alani and Elafor a lot. The Wind Mage, I'm a fan of. The Wind Chargers, Severith, and the Hurakan Spirit, they're both amazing.
That's so cool.
I think.
How excited for you making my Order army involving several of these heroes?
It's fine. Just got to pay me. I'll put my prices up. No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
You can't have it because I'm not building it for you.
No, you pay per hour anyway, so it's fine.
Just gonna drag your feet. Oh, sorry, he was just really fiddly.
No, I wouldn't. Well, they're really fiddly. I don't need to tell you.
It's only one infantry model. It just took me 7 hours. Yeah. I had to sand the inside of Eltharion's armor.
I'll give you a discount on the Cloud Man.
Can pay me.
I'm going to pay you to not take it
and purchase him for me.
No, you're right. Then, like, you've got just for completeness. Allies for Lumineth Realm-Lords are Idoneth Deepkin. So
kind of interesting.
There's a little bit of synergy with net launchers and the pile-ins from the Wind Spirits and the piling away. Because if you can't pile in and they can pile in wherever they want and they've got 3-inch reach and you get minuses to your pile-ins, you could have an army that you could just never fight. And it's just shooting you all the time.
Lock down the battlefield.
I think there is some legs there, or I should say some fins.
There's some fins. Also, let's have some real talk, bros. If you put in sharks, that's less Lumineth units you have to build and paint. So...
Plus 2 sharks is the same price as Alfari.
Stop it! I was waiting, but I knew it the moment you said sharks. I was like, how long?
So two Alapexes is 220. So you could have 2 sharks, no waiting, or Alfarian. Rest in peace, brother.
I could see you taking like a 2 of sharks and a 1 of sharks. Just as a way to get to your army being finished, like legit, and then you have them as a allies option in the future because Idoneth can ally with quite a lot of order.
Yeah,
so it's not a bad investment, even if you end up evolving to something where you're using
with daughters as well, didn't we?
Yeah,
they basically the elven sluts, right?
They are. They just they don't. They're kind of literally mercenary, aren't they? They don't have a. They're not good. They're not bad. They could be seen as evil, but they just.
I mean, they
just don't have.
They literally steal souls to give to their soulless children. They're pretty bad.
Okay, then they don't have eyes. They're probably fairly evil.
Yeah, they're kind of cold and nasty.
Well, apparently, they can be paid in asparagus and farts. So, and are willing to join up.
You can ride the Aether Wind Sea.
Fantastic. So there's some modelling there. You could do a really evil looking. I love. Whenever I see armies that are painted in pale colours or, look like the good guys, I don't know what it is. I've got a White Scar next to me who's exactly the same. My first thought is, like, how could you make them look battle-worn or scraggy or bedraggled or, like end of campaign or just, straight up covered in blood and evil. So I could, maybe that's the way to handle the Lumineth more readily is to just not try and make them look clean because clean painting is time-consuming. And can be faffy. You could get like a heavily weathered, heavy metallics, dry brushed army with like blood splatches on it on some desert basing or something like that with some Deepkin allies. You could get that on the table way, way, way faster.
I think like
standard.
That kind of like, it's that great white shark type thing in it, where it's like white, dead eyes, blood, look amazing, like that sort of like greyish. That's why I really like Deepkin. It's got that kind of like that look. I think if you did it in very pastel dark, I think we had one at Facehammer Worldwide, someone submitted their Deepkin. They look amazing because I love that kind of dark evil look. That's why I quite like the Enclave, which is the guys, the soul renders and the Thralls.
And there's it's called Blood Hunt or something, the forming. I can't remember what it was. But
no, I'm talking about Morfan, I think it is. They're like the dark bluey black armor with like the pale fish eels. But I think, I don't know, like there's a lot of good stuff in there, and I think the problem is you fall into the trap like you do with Stormcast, where like Vanguard just don't see a look in. Because
awesome heroes.
There are too many things competing for the same space.
You take any block in that army as well, and you just got rid of a quarter of your points, right?
You've almost I mean, you've always got the Vanari, which are like your Liberator, Adjudicator, blah blah blah, whatever your generics, and then you've got your Stone Guards, which are like the Paladins. You've got like the Vanguard guys. You've got like the Dracoff guy. So it's like you don't often see a Stormcast army that has a balance of all the units. You kind of go, right. I'm not going to take Hunters. I'm not going to take those. I'll take, I think it's like when you've got like 3 units that all shoot, you're going to take the most efficient shooting unit out of the point. So it's like you said about ballistas. You're like, do I take Ballista or do I take Severith, or do I take do I take Blade Masters or do I take the Stone Guard? They compete for the same position. I think it's quite interesting that you get different battle line, you get different buffs if you're in different temples. But so like the Alarith got like some good rules. They're quite defensive, but they're slow. But then you've got ways to, if you combine them with maybe with the Hurakan stuff, you've got speed and shooting, and you've got slow and resilient. Maybe you can do hammer anvil piling shenanigans, and like some of the piling.
Very disciplined with not taking any too much of one side or the other. That would be pretty strong, I think.
But I think it would come into when you combo stuff like you can't pile in your minuses to hit, but you're also fighting Alarith because you've mixed them, and you've got Avlanor for his AoE minus hit bubble on top of every other thing in the army that gives you minuses to hit. You could be like -4, -5 to hit. You're like never going to hit.
I'm sure isn't there also like you get to move twice, or you get to double your move spell in the original old?
I think so.
Old book.
Yeah.
So we've been speaking about 16-inch move units or 24-inch move units. Like, dudes, like, what if you want to fly 48 inches across the table? That is pretty much unheard of in the game. And obviously, when you're doubling your move, I'm sure people just say, well, there's teleports available. Teleports have restrictions in the form of how far away you have to be from enemy units. It's normally at least 9, which is why we were pretty excited about the teleporting 150-point hero who can be just more than 3 away. But
speed of Hish, double the move.
Hello, 48 inches, right?
Well, it's just excessive. You never need to cast it on him. I think just casting it. I think like if you cast it on the normal Rue guys, they go up to like 28-inch move.
Insane. I think that's a reason to take. If you are taking them, that's a reason to take 1 unit of them as a 10 for sure, because the threat of that unit is pretty disgusting.
But what you've got to remember as well, like because Sentinels and Wardens are wizards, they get access to those spells.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure they can take spells as well. So like you don't even need to buy like a Caligrave or a Kaflar.
A couple of tens of shooters, like battle line shooters, not a bad option. You don't even have to commit to having the right hero to make
two wardens, 2 sentinels. You got your battle line. You got 2 units of spearmen. You got 2 units of shooters. Then everything else is whatever you want. It's like
and of course you could be vanguarding 3 of those units forward to protect you if needed. That's correct, right? In the one of the great nations, yeah. So it depends on which one you take. So if you take Alumni, they get that move
to Vanguard. So I
Not
think
a bad option.
there's a lot of choice, and now that you've got these extra great nations, you've got all these extra war scrolls. I mean, this is more than doubled the size of the options you've got.
It's exponential as well, isn't it? You know, you could add 50% more options, but you could have 4 times more flexibility because of everything that unlocks.
Yeah, so that is Broken Realms Teclis rules, but also Lumineth Battletome update, however you want to go for it. So I think we'll wrap the show up there because it's been quite long. Hopefully you guys found it interesting. If we got anything wrong or you got any comments, put it below.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check out our live stream on Sunday.
Yeah, give us some ideas for the live stream on Sunday, and we will do our best to cover the most interesting ones.
Yeah, so the pinned comment will have the link to the live stream. If you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll get reminded of it started. And obviously, looking at our stats as well, a lot of people who watch the video, probably more than half of people aren't subscribed. So if you aren't subscribed, just hit that button. It takes like 2 seconds, helps us out, helps other people find us. But from what we would appreciate more is just tell people about our channel, like so they can find it or share it on your social media, etc. So
if you're in any groups, Lumineth groups or whatever, we will try and hunt some out and link this within there. But if you can share them in any WhatsApps or something like that, that will make a big difference. And Lumineth are definitely a big, solid option for a long-term army now because there's just so much flexibility in there. We'll probably end up covering them multiple times in the future, I imagine.
Yeah, and I mean they are going to be a staple order force. I think it's like it almost like feels like Deepkin need that extra set of stuff to add, and so do like Ossicarch Bonereapers kind of need that extra set of stuff to add. They kind of feel like they haven't had that boost of stuff, and so it's nice to see that obviously Lumineth have had their update very recently, but not too far away from when they were originally released. So I know people might complain about the frequency and about how it's so soon. But if you're an OBR player like me, you've had that army, and there's not a lot of choice in it. There's not a lot of variance, and some of the stuff's not viable. And you look at the new Underworld's warband, see the guy with the big axe, who's like the stalker body but different without the 4 arms, and you see the Mortek bowman, and you're like, oh, when are these coming then? Because for me, that would make the faction feel a lot more like the old school sort of Tomb King army that I love. And it's like, even if you had like a big Necrosphinx style giant thing in there as well, then it's almost like the faction will have so many more options. So I wouldn't complain too much. If you're a Lumineth player, you should be really happy that you've got all this stuff rather than complaining about having to maybe buy a second half of the book you should have had a year ago, but at least you don't have to wait 4 years for your model updates. So, thanks for sitting through the video and watching us talk about Lumineth. Obviously, they've gone up for pre-order. One of the things that really helps us out is we are sponsored by Element Games. If you click in the link in the description to pre-order your models, if you live in the UK, that really helps us out because we get some kickback from that. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you use the crystal code in there, you'll get extra element crystals as a referral. That's also in the description. And it really helps us continue to buy equipment and produce content as a full-time basis. So any support would be greatly appreciated.
Russ will definitely do a Lumineth army if people buy it enough as well.
No, I will spend all the money on Ossicarch Bonereapers when they come out, or Sunesh, or Iron Jaws, or anything that's not order.
17 options. Anyway, yeah, thanks very much for supporting, guys. It really does make a big difference. The link will be below in the pinned comment. So if you head down there and make any purchases, that would be absolutely awesome.
All right, thanks for watching, guys.